Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, we're
Glad
back.
to be back. Yes, we're so excited. I'm so excited to be back and reading this. Did you read the chapters, Jen, or did you listen?
I listen, as always.
Oh,
But
so
maybe
good.
I'll be able to. We'll see.
Now, Jim Dale's too good to.
It's
Quit.
like a movie.
I know.
I love
Well, you've
it.
done
I
it
know.
like for every book now. You got to keep going. With
I
it.
know, but the thing is, there are certain things that like you kind of miss when you're listening to it, or like
Like what?
certain names get mixed up for me.
Oh, okay.
And the sound, their voices, I think it's someone else and it's not, the way
Yeah.
he changes his voices. And I don't know how to spell anything because I can't like see it or see how it's actually like pronounced or written out phonetically or whatever.
There's,
You know,
I mean, we're already jumping in, but we're not, because we'll mention this again maybe in a bit. But there's one of my favorite things for listening versus reading is in this chapter. And you're not going to pick up on it, but when the prime minister is talking about Sirius Black,
yeah.
he spells it serious like how you'd spell a serious conversation.
Oh.
Like, so it's Serius.
he does.
Yeah, right? Or IOUS, or
I don't
however
know
you
how to
spell
spell it 'cause
serious.
I'm terrible at spelling, but
Notice
But he
that.
doesn't spell it like serious,
Yeah,
like
like-
Sirius, like how Sirius Black spells
Like
his
in
name.
this
Yep.
chapter.
Yeah, so the
you don't
first
pick up
chapter,
on
that.
yeah, it's like the prime minister is talking about Sirius Black, and he keeps saying serious, like you're serious. It's
Their,
such a cool
their
little
voices
thing.
were kind of similar. At one point, I was like, I don't know who's talking when he does.
the prime minister and minister
There were
of magic.
certain ones where I was like, wait, who is this? Like, I had to like really listen to see who was talking.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I still enjoy it that way.
Oh,
Except
this-
I miss things when I'm merging on the highway. So it's
That's right. That is proper priorities.
This one is so good though. I cannot tell you the amount of people that are excited for you to do this one because this is such a good book.
Good. I read so slow because I'm like, I missed this every page. I was just like dissecting things, writing things down.
How many notes do you
I have the
have?
history
a
of
long
magic,
podcast for one
obviously.
chapter.
So I was filling in my history of wizards,
Oh my
but I also
gosh.
started a character list. That way I
Oh
don't
boy.
lose track of
Yes.
anyone. So I was like filling in every character that I've encountered so far that
you
I
have
can
a lot
recall.
of time on your hands.
Yeah, lots. Yeah, definitely.
But priorities.
Right.
And well, it's because honestly, I feel like these books and the podcast, it's like an escape from the rest of the world, and
Yeah.
that's what makes it so amazing because it doesn't feel draining or stressful to read. So then I'm like, oh, this is just great. I'm done with a long day of work, spending a half hour just
Yeah.
reading. Oh, it's the best.
I know.
I can't believe I'm saying these things.
I know. We did it. We made them love reading.
That's the whole point of reading.
Exactly, literally.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what it's all about.
And this is one of those books that's such a good escape. Like you'll finish the whole series, and I think when you re-listen or rewatch them or reread them, it's like you just can go back into that world, no problem. Pick it up from any point, and it's just as enjoyable.
It's like a hug.
Yeah,
Like a hug.
yeah,
Yep.
it's so good.
I'm starting to get it.
That makes me so happy.
I have a few intro questions I want to ask you guys before we kind of like jump into things. But what do you think this book is going to be about so far? The Half-Blood Prince.
Jen?
I can't tell if it's like revealing more of Harry Potter's like connection to Voldemort, or it's going to be more about Voldemort and following the history of how he became so powerful. Because the Half-Blood Prince, I thought was, I don't know. I thought it was, what is it? Oh my gosh, the house name. That Snape is in.
Slytherin?
Slytherin?
Thank you. Whoa. I thought it was like Slytherin's
The Slytherin heir.
heir, but I'm not sure I'm confusing that. So I
Yeah.
didn't know if Half-Blood Prince was like that he's the Half-Blood Prince of the Slytherin heir, but he wasn't
Yeah.
a prince, right?
Well, no, but that is a good thought because an heir, it's like a line of succession. It's like there's a power involved there. So if this is the prince, who's the king in this analogy? And half-blood, is that the same as like Muggle-born? Is it like, do we know that for a fact? Did I fill in that accidentally in my head?
That's what I feel like to me too, though.
And we know
Or is it?
some stuff about Harry and Voldemort. Well, but then
Or maybe it's
we're confused about Harry
Potters.
because in theory he should be pure blood, but Voldemort is giving him, he's calling him mudblood and stuff. So we're like a little confused about that, or why that would be the case, or maybe he's just representing Muggles or other people too.
Well, the line isn't fully pure from Lily's side.
Is that it? Because right. Even though she is a wizard, she wasn't a pure blood wizard. So he was saying, but half blood prince. It's scary because,
but maybe it's something with the Potters too, like the history of them. Because we don't know much about the dad, James.
Or James's dad. James can't be the.
Because like, why
maybe
was
James
he the
is
chosen child?
He's
too?
the king in this analogy, and Harry's the prince.
So yeah, we're trying to figure out. You think the
Or
Half-Blood Prince is a
Dumbledore.
person, or do you think it's something else?
I have been thinking person for sure.
Or could it
What
be
else could it be?
But could it be someone that becomes the Half-Blood Prince with something?
So
Because they're like, look. I know you don't like to look at covers.
yeah, my cover, I'm getting purple and diamonds. So, yeah, good old Dumbledore and Harry
Dumbledore.
looking into a pensieve. Excellent.
I don't think that's a pensieve.
Well, what
You're
else?
right.
Could
It
be?
could
What do
be
you think
anything.
It could be?
Could be anything.
It could be like a potion they're creating that Harry's gonna take, and then he becomes
the Half-Blood
Prince.
You know what? I was still thinking about that vial of blood that they were throwing away in the House of Black.
How do you remember these?
And Creature, I think, got the vial. We don't know for sure, but he was collecting all the garbage and stuff.
Whose blood was it?
Great question, Jen.
So
I don't know, but I want to find out.
Where did you write this down?
because
Blood
you
is
guys keep
important.
talking about blood being so important.
He keeps talking about that.
Well, because Harry's blood brought Voldemort back. But then that again with half blood, it makes me think if we're interpreting it as real blood, then Voldemort, he has some of Harry's blood in him. So is it about that? Is he half blood? Does that do something to Harry and his own blood and his
Yeah.
I don't know, power or
What
purity
about
or something
wands?
else?
Could it have something to do with the wands?
Well, there are heartstrings in wands. Maybe that has a relation to blood.
But theirs are phoenix
Hearts.
feathers, so I don't know.
Right. So this could be somebody else, somebody new. We don't know. That's why it's so tough. But I don't know. Maybe somebody becomes the prince. Maybe somebody was the prince.
What if
But either way,
Dumbledore
what
is
does
the
it mean?
prince?
The half-blood prince.
Dumbledore? Could be
I
the
don't-
prince?
He could. Wow. Who's Dumbledore's dad?
And he's pure blood, right?
We honestly don't know anything about Dumbledore.
But he likes half.
He's not racist.
Yes.
So that's
Who,
good.
Dumbledore's dad?
No,
No,
I mean just Dumbledore,
Dumbledore.
in general.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, Dumbledore's dad probably is racist. No, I have no idea.
He's rebelling against
accusations.
him.
We don't know,
Literally
Danny.
no clue.
Don't throw him under the bus.
But I just think, they did a great job raising Dumbledore. They did it right. But Aberforth, he's questionable.
He's a little suspect. Yeah.
I don't know. That would be so cool to get more insight into Dumbledore's past or his family.
So you're still like, even that vial of blood, like nothing is going beyond you. Like you're even looking at the small things that they kept in the House of Black. Like that
Yeah.
Creature was stowing away. Because what else did he stow away? The picture?
There was
Right?
also a book of genealogies that somebody
Wow.
smashed a little spider with.
Okay.
And
See,
there's the whole
blowing your
genealogies
mind,
on the
John.
wall.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
weird tapestry that suspicious.
What else did he take? Did he take the vial? Did he take the vial of blood?
I think he did take the vial, but I don't remember if it said it specifically, but he was taking things that the other people were throwing away. So it was all in the same chapter. It was all in the same bit, but I don't recall if it was and then Creature walked over and picked up
Yeah,
the
yeah,
vial
yeah.
and put it in his pocket.
But you kind of assume
it
he
was
took
more
most of it.
like we saw them cleaning up and throwing away stuff. And
Yeah.
then I think it was more like Creature took some of it, but I don't remember if it was as specific. I'm trying not to go back and read as much as I want to.
I know.
After the whole thing with Sirius rising from the table, I'm like, I got to go back and read in book 1 or 2 where that happened the first time, and I'm like, nope, I can't do it.
Wait, but it happened the first time it happened was in book 3.
Book 3 when Trelawney first brings that up, and I'm like, now there's probably some hidden gem in that chapter that would say somebody rose for a second, and then I'm like, nope, I can't do it. For a pure reading experience, I'm resisting going back previous books, because I'm curious. But my rule is I'll write things down. I can take good notes, but there's no reviewing. I can't go back till I read it for the second time.
Okay. All right, I like that.
That's my own little rule.
He's so strict
Otherwise, I
with
would have read
himself.
I would have read it like 3 times.
Creating
by
his own
now.
parameters and
It's
how
like
to read.
before we start every new book, I'm gonna go back to book 1 and start from the beginning again.
Oh my gosh.
I did that when they were
Like-
just starting to come out, but when the 7th one came out, I was so anxious to read that I didn't want to. I was like trying to reread all the books real quick, and I didn't get a chance to read the 6th book. So this one, so I just spark noted the 6th book. I refreshed myself. I spent like 2 hours reading SparkNote chapters on it, and then I started the 7th one. So I was like refreshed, ready to go, and just jumped into it. It was a great.
I feel like that is great, and the way they review, she reviews content before she brings things up. Like even Polyjuice in book 4, it was like she reintroduced the idea before she hits you with like the curveball with movie, and I feel like the same thing would have to happen here, where if that vial of blood is going to be something significant, I feel like she'd have to at least hint at it somehow before bringing it up. But maybe not. Maybe that's the genius of it.
Yeah.
She makes it she does it in a way that if you completely forgot about it in a previous book, it wouldn't negatively impact your reading experience, but also Harry's mirror from Sirius. There's no way that came up just to be like a nothing thing. It's going to have some impact either as a device or as Harry, like a mental thing for Harry to get over. Like, why didn't I think of that?
That's the one thing that drives you crazy about JK, though, is that she puts the smallest little thing in there. It's a sentence, and it could have impact on something later.
It could have an impact, or it could be
That's
nothing.
why he's taking notes like a madman.
Then he's
But
got an
that's the beauty
object
of it.
list.
Because
Yeah.
then even if it means nothing, it's a fun, it's a fun exercise in
He mentions a rock, and he's like, all right, write
mystery.
that down. Where is this rock being kept?
Which direction is it? Where is the moss?
What are the coordinates so I know exactly where it is?
So I'm so curious if it would come back. She's really good at that.
She is.
Okay, to start off, too, because we were mentioning people rising from the table. In the last 2 books, someone has died at the end of the book. Cedric and Sirius.
And we got 2 people dead
gonna
already, and the book
die
just
in
started.
I know. So tell me, what are your predictions? Do you think someone will die at the end of this book?
Probably.
Definitely.
I don't know who. I hope it's not the crew, the core crew.
Yeah, I can't tell, but I think core people will have to die, but it feels a little premature. I don't know. Like maybe Sirius, that was like the thing, and maybe there won't be more death, but it feels like they're getting darker and darker. So in theory, it would escalate and somebody even more important to us would die. But it also could be the opposite, where that is the pinnacle of death and sadness with Sirius, and now she can bring it back, and we can try and be victorious and have struggles in different ways, not about death.
But they're going to be fighting Voldemort. There's going to be more.
There's going to
deaths.
have to be death, but no offense to the poor wizards, I don't really care if other people die. I just don't want our people to die. So like Bones and Vance, when they die, it's kind of like Amelia Bones, that hurts a little bit because we liked her, and we already know her brother died as part of the order. So it's kind of like that's sad, but because we don't really know her, it's not that sad. So I think we could see tons more like that, where like
wait, who was the one that like in the beginning gave away all the secrets? That was
in
Amelia
the beginning
Bones.
gave
That,
away all the secrets.
Sorry, Voldemort and Wormtail
the
got a
woman?
hold of her.
Oh, that was
in the very
Bertha
beginning.
Jorkins.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
them confused.
Yeah, Bertha and Amelia, yeah.
But Amelia Bones was the one who was on the Wizengamot, and she was asking good questions to Harry, and kind of like you felt like she was on Harry's side. Corporeal Patronus? You've done this
right,
before?
right.
Like she was that one that
Oh
like
my
you're kind of
gosh,
like,
you
oh
remember
wow,
that?
he's got a teammate, kind of. on the Wizengamot. So it's not just Harry and Dumbledore versus the world. It's like, all right, there are some good wizards up there. But of course, now there's one less good wizard. So, or maybe one more. Now that Fudge is gone. Sorry for getting into the chapter.
I know.
But yes, people will die, and I don't know who. I hope not people we like.
Okay, who are those people? Give me a list of. Give me like top 5 or top 3 of people you don't want to die. Just is it
Harry, Ron, Dumbledore, Mrs. Weasley, Hermione.
You're gonna leave Hermione
Mr.
out.
Weasley. No, I just wanted her to be lower ranked. This is in order right now.
Okay.
Some people really
So
can't
Neville.
stand her.
Oh, sorry.
I know.
Neville should have been like number 3. Neville cannot die. Everyone else in this. Nah, never mind.
Everyone else can die
Except Neville. The Creevy brothers completely off
So
limits.
literally everyone in that has
No,
been
but literally, I'm like,
issues
I don't
that
want
are
any of those
friends.
people to
Yeah.
die. Certainly not Fred, not George, not Percy. He can die. Not McGonagall cannot die. Ooh, actually, she'd be a good candidate. No, you know what? She looks older to us,
Why would she
but
be a
she's
good
supposed to be
candidate?
younger.
Like
well,
she'd
because
be good one chopping block, I think. is what
yeah,
she'd be.
meaning like it.
Like I could see it happening.
I could see it happening only because we've already seen her go through some hurt and pain. She doesn't,
Getting
again,
into
the no
Danny's
strings
realm.
attached. She doesn't have like family that we've met. Although if JK is really trying to mess with our heartstrings, then she would introduce
dragon
McGonagall's
heartstrings,
family.
nice.
Yeah, she would introduce
still
McGonagall's
Harry's
family
grandma.
just to like boom crush us. Lupin.
Oh, I like
You don't
Lupin.
want
I
Lupin
like
to die?
him. He's one of my favorite characters, honestly.
Yeah.
But also, I could see him dying. I don't want him to, but,
or Moody.
but Lupin,
The
Moody,
little one, the
sorry,
real
John,
one.
Tonks.
No.
And I think they could die. To be honest, like half of them will. You know what I mean? People in the order have to die. I just don't want it to be the people we really like.
Yeah.
And Mundungus, he can.
Did
he
you
could
say
go die.
Ginny?
I don't trust
Did you
Mundungus
say
actually.
Ginny?
Oh, Ginny, she can't die either.
Yeah, no. I love her.
Although she's, back when she was innocent, back when it was like she was
What
a
did she
nobody.
do?
All she was
her
just
innocence.
sweet little Ginny innocent. Okay, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
I didn't necessarily mean it that way.
I
But
missed
then it felt like she couldn't die even in the chamber. But now that she's more of a character, she's so bold, I could see her actually fighting somebody. You know what I mean? Like she'll get mixed up in an actual wizard battle. And that's where I think she'd
And
be at
win.
risk. Potentially, yeah. When
No,
she's
she
taking
will.
on like 5 Death Eaters, she'll kill 4 of them, but the last one will get a shot
I
off
mean,
right before.
her twin brothers that are huge said that. Have you ever been jinxed by
Right,
Ginny?
she's a
So-
threat.
I know.
And she's just getting better and better all the time. That was before she had Dumbledore's army training. I don't know, guys.
You listed off every character.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 3. It was like
Yeah.
3 hands.
I'm trying to think who else, because the people who die have to be on both sides. So on the bad side, who's going to die? You know what I mean?
Malf-
some of them have to.
The Malfoy.
Mr. Malfoy, sure.
Would
Let's
be
get rid of
great.
him, unless he's getting an arc of being good.
We
I'm
still don't know
open to
who
that.
Snape is.
Snape could probably die. On either side. I'm like, good or bad. You know what? He can fight with himself and kill himself. It's
What's the Bellatrix? Gone. She needs to
oof,
go.
but she's so good. If she dies, it's gonna be
No, it was only because Sirius was very cocky. and
no, but it
pride.
can't only be because
Yes,
of that.
it is.
She
I'm
was
going
scared
with
of
that.
Dumbledore. I don't know. Wait, who do you think are the best wizards on the bad side?
Bad side.
Like
Voldemort.
and then who's next? Who's the next best bad wizard?
I mean, it did seem like Bellatrix doesn't
Yeah.
care about anyone, so it ends up being easier.
And that makes her more of a threat because she doesn't care about anything.
That's what it seems
No
like.
rules. Yep, I agree.
Malfoy's dad. No, wait. What is that? Is their names? Lucius
Yeah.
Lucius Malfoy.
Malfoy.
And we don't even know anything about Mrs. Malfoy really yet, but she's around. And
Isn't
she's
it the
Sirius's
sister of
cousin.
Bellatrix?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
So she
Wait,
probably-
time out. Before we go into
that true?
best wizards, who do you not want to die? Who is off limits for you?
Everyone who listed.
Well,
You were
give an
making
order
fun
to
of
it
me.
too. Yeah, seriously.
She's like, but I agree.
I agree with everything that you just said.
Well, what's the order? Like, who's the least?
I know don't like Hermione. I like her because I can
She's number
relate to her.
6. That's good.
Yeah, she would be number 3 for me.
Whoa. Who's one
Actually,
and two?
no, Harry. No, I'm kidding.
After the last one, you're like, Harry, I wouldn't mind if he did.
No, it would be Harry, Dumbledore, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, Neville, Lupin, and then the twins, Fred and George. Oh, we also forgot, what's her name? Luna.
Oh, yeah.
Good Luna.
Yeah.
She's immune to these petty squabbles.
Yeah.
True.
uh,
I feel like she would just
Yeah,
like
she's so
walk
above it.
through
Yeah.
like
She would
these
literally walk
things
through a
and be
battle
like,
like chasing a
fine.
butterfly or something.
Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
And then the Weasleys, the parents.
Okay.
So where am I at? 10.
Yeah,
that's
more
what
than
I said.
that, but that's a good
It's
list.
yeah.
So similar order,
Hmm.
but I like Hermione more than you.
Yeah. But
I
also,
didn't realize she's very like a what is the polarizing character? Like either they
Oh.
love or hate her.
like people in general.
People that I've talked to about
Hermione?
Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Recently, I like was talking to someone and she's like, "Oh, I can't stand her. She was so annoying with the what is it called? The elf
Yeah. The
You.
elves. Yeah.
yeah. I can't believe just like drop it already or
Just
something.
drop it.
I don't know. It was just interesting. I've never heard someone like it's just so annoying. Everything has to be like done her way and blah blah. Blah. I was
Well,
like,
even John, when you posted the shorts,
Yeah.
you made one of those where you're kind of like comparing the movie and the book Hermione and just
Yep.
kind of like how different she is.
She is, starkly different. And Ron is the same thing. Like, Ron in the movies is an oaf, but he's actually really cool in the books. Like,
So
you
true.
mentioned Ron above Hermione, that you wouldn't want him to die above Hermione even. Which maybe you're
Shoot.
flipping that in your mind right now. But,
well, just because
both of them
yeah.
are so different from the movies to the books.
I
Ron
just
is
like Hermione, just like her logic and like
Yeah.
she just gets it. And there's certain things that I'm thinking just like her in the book, so I
Yep.
guess I'm annoying too. But I'm just like
Well, we can relate.
I'm like that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
Don't get in trouble. Do the right thing. Don't go against what the teachers say.
Like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
naturally,
I
of
agree.
course.
We didn't get detentions like these two.
I don't know.
Troublemakers over here.
she is a little bit more intense in the books than the movies as well. Like,
Than the movies,
Yeah.
you're saying? Yeah.
because she does always think she's right. Even
Whoops.
I'm not saying this about you. She kept someone in a jar for a significant portion
Oh,
of
that
time,
was not
which
Yeah,
is
that
a
was-
little rough.
I wouldn't do that.
She got a little carried
Yeah.
away. She's young still.
Yeah, for sure.
She's learning.
maturing.
And she got Harry's firebolt confiscated.
Yeah,
That was still over the
yeah,
line.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I
That's tough.
forget that one.
Well, that was where we disagreed on
Oh,
it. You're
'cause
like,
she-
but it was the right thing to do, and I'm like, yeah, but it was lame. And
Yeah.
then
To get it checked
afterwards,
out.
yeah. But honestly, it was also fair because it turns out it really was from Sirius, and good thing Sirius
guess
is
so.
nice.
Yeah,
But
that was
like,
a good
what if
guess.
he was evil? You know what I mean? That would have been the perfect way for
I know.
Voldemort to get Harry because he was blinded
Just
by
send him
the.
a broomstick.
Yep.
Send them in the new version of the
Whacks
Fireball, the
it
Fireball
in
2.0.
brings
And he's
it
like,
to-
oh, great.
Excellent.
Immediately dies.
That's true.
Yeah.
The broom just brings him to Voldemort.
That would be such a good idea.
Yep.
That would instantaneously kill him. All right. Well, we have a few more intro questions, but let's just do the little intro. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny.
And Kristen.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. I cannot tell you my excitement that we're starting Half-Blood Prince. I am so excited. I know a lot of you who are listening are really excited that we're starting Half-Blood Prince because it's a lot of people's favorite book in the series. So this is only on chapter 1. We're still so pumped. We're going to go through this slow and just take our time because this book deserves it. But as always, thank you so much for listening. You guys are the best. If you can, just go give us a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Most of our listeners are on Spotify, but if you can, just go to Apple Podcasts, give us a good little rating and review over there. That'd be awesome. We love those. Also, as always, there's a few things going on. firsttimereaders@gmail.com if you want any stickers or bookmarks. One of the announcements that we had is that, we have two announcements. We have one that's coming up in the podcast that you'll listen to very shortly. But another one is that we have merch coming up. And we have a designer who's creating some of the houses. And we're going to start selling some sweatshirts and all that kind of stuff. So that should be really fun. If you want that, I will let you know. Just join our subreddit because that's probably where I'll let you know first. r/firsttimereaders. So again, r/firsttimereaders for our subreddit, our Gmail, firsttimereaders@gmail.com. Our website, firsttimereaders.com. What else do we have? First I'm Readers on Twitter, although we never really use Twitter. We have our YouTube channel. Go subscribe to us on YouTube. We throw out shorts and we actually do live streams of all these podcasts. So go check us out on YouTube. That's pretty much it. Thanks for listening. You guys are truly the best. It is so much fun seeing how many people were just excited for us to come back after our little hiatus between Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince. So we're excited to be back. Enjoy this podcast and let us know what you think. Give us some comments. Give us some reviews. Give us some ratings. Go join our subreddit. Let us know what you think of this podcast. Thank you again for listening and enjoy this chapter of Half-Blood Prince.
We did it.
You nailed it again. Okay, we're back.
Look at that.
The neurons are firing. I know where it is again.
Back
We're
on
good.
the bike.
That break was too long.
I know. We also have a little announcement that we want to make. We've been hiding this from you guys for the entire podcast so far. So I just want to ask, for Danny, I'll ask Danny the first question, and then you can talk more about this, Jen. But Danny, why did you initially want to start reading this series?
Well, we've told the story back in the day of how this all started when we went to a brewery and we were hanging out. And then John told another enhanced version of that story and said, when we said 1, 2 in the podcast, that was because that was 1 drink, 2 drinks, etc. It was a little bit fueled. But the whole thing all started because I had a crush on Jenn. And so when we're going to this brewery and everyone starts bailing, it was just me, Jenn, and Kristen. And I was like, well, it's a little awkward. I don't even know these girls, but they're in my book club and they're cool. Let's go. It'll be great.
Tell us how you really feel.
And so, because the thing is, our friendship,
right now.
it's literally based on how well you know somebody is tough in a large group. You can hang out, you can whatever, but then I'm like, it's literally going to be 3 of us. I didn't think either one of you guys were actually going to come. I was like, this is going to get canceled before we even get there. And then all of a sudden we're there and I'm like, wow, this is great. So
I'm glad we didn't disappoint.
Little did I know, I was a third wheel.
And
No,
Kristen
he was the
brings
third
her,
wheel.
yeah, literally her Rubik's Cube, and she was showing us that she could do the Rubik's Cube. It was great.
That was so cool.
So Kristen was just doing the Rubik's Cube in the bag while you two were flirting.
Oh, that is not.
That is the story of my life.
And
Welcome,
and then there was a
everyone.
food truck, a whole thing. But Kristen
about
isn't a beer person. So then at the end of this brewery time, I still wanted to hang out more. And so then I'm like, well, let's go to a local bar, somewhere you can get something you would enjoy too. I know beer is not for everybody. Cool. Then we go to another local bar. And now we're however many drinks in, add another 1 or 2. And I think Kristen is the one who initially said something about Harry Potter World in Florida. And then Jen's like, I want to read the books. And I'm thinking, excellent. I've got a crush on this girl. And we just committed to 7 books and a trip to Universal.
I'm not even in the picture.
Literally, John's not even in the picture. So then I'm like, oh, wow, this is kind of intense. And then I don't remember exactly when it was, but then over the next few days, we start this little group chat. We're finding the books. Oh, can you borrow from Mark or from John or the library? We'll go buy it. Then I buy the books. We start reading. And again, still have a crush on Jenn. So then it was kind of the perfect scenario. But again, I'm like, is this really going to happen? Maybe we'll get together at the end of each book. But I still like that we now had texting and all that. So it was just kind of funny. And then the podcast starts because Jen says, "Oh yeah, John wants to join our group chat." And this and that. I'm like, I thought this was a secret. What in the world? And then
He's like, don't expand it.
I know. And then I was like, actually, this will be good. I'm like, you know what, John's acceptable, but most people wouldn't be.
Because he's the one that always was
Literally.
encouraging to
Yeah.
read it, which is why
Yeah.
I had to tell him. I was like,
Yep.
guess what? I
Absolutely.
finally am starting
I was
Harry
your
Potter.
biggest cheerleader for starting
And
this
because
book.
we wanted to talk to people about borrowing the book too. So then I ended up
Yeah,
telling
that's
Mark,
true.
so it
Oh,
was
yeah.
a little bit like, oh, we're going to read it. But then the podcast, we're like, all right, people know we're reading
Yeah.
the books, but let's not tell anyone about the podcast. And then once the podcast started, we slowed the pace even more. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. So at a certain point, I was like, I don't know. This is a little bold because now we're a book and a half in. The
Yeah.
whole podcast is going. This is great. I'm like, I'm going to just drop a grenade on this whole thing and I'm going to ask Jen out. But I did it. I figured it was
didn't?
worth the risk.
And like
So-
this is like the second book too, right?
Yes, we're like mid-second book, and I was like,
Really?
you know what,
Like
I'm gonna go for it. So then we go on the date, and we still didn't tell anybody. So then we go back, we record another episode or two. I haven't gone back to look, but some of our fans are so detective oriented.
Yeah.
They probably noticed little things.
Yep.
Because it was never too much. It was just like a look here or there, just like a certain level of comfort between us, maybe. Or episodes where we'd be like fighting about something, and you could tell on the podcast that there might be something else going on. And then we'd get in the car afterwards. I'd be driving her home, and I'm like, "Wait, were you actually mad when you said that?" "Oh no, I wasn't. It was just joking. Whatever." All right, good. So that whole thing was really funny. And then I tell John before one of the pods, I was like, "All right, John, I did something crazy. I asked Jen out. We're going on dates." And Kristen found out the same time. I forget exactly the timing of that. But all that to say, for all of the recordings that we have done since book 2, we have been dating, and it has been great. But we are no longer dating now. We are now engaged. Again, it would have been funny to wait and just let people pick up on
Yeah.
the ring or drop little hints or something. But you know what? The secret is now no longer a secret. Well, you know what? It still is a secret, but you guys are all included in our secret.
Yeah. You guys are all
It's
in
a
on the
big
secret
secret
now.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even post it on social media, so there are friends of mine that probably still don't know. But all you friends, you're in. So yeah, it was funny. I guess it worked out.
Anything you want to add, Jen? What's your side of the story?
My side of the story. Yeah, that was funny. I had no idea he had a crush. This guy just wants to hang out with us. He needs more friends.
Yep.
When a guy commits to wanting to
More
do a whole podcast, there's something going on.
Yep.
I was clueless. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Just, recording. It was, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
There were funny things in like the subreddit too of people asking about like because you guys had mentioned something. I want to try to even pull that up because someone like 2 days after you guys got engaged had this
yeah.
long post on our subreddit.
We were talking about Harry and crushes or
Yeah.
And
dating.
Cho.
Or
The
Cho.
title is "Was Jen using double speak when?"
Oh yeah.
And the conversation went. It says Danny is relating to the idea that Crumb never found the perfect time to talk to Hermione, and Jen
yes.
rolls her eyes so hard that we can see it through space and time. And then Jen goes, "Oh, here we go." And then Danny said, "There
Classic.
is a perfect moment." Jen, is there a perfect moment? Danny, I just don't know what that moment is. Jen, I feel like you don't know. And so this
Yeah.
person, the whole theory based on that small conversation.
Wow. Even though we
That you
were
guys were
already
interested.
dating at
Yeah,
that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys were
Yeah.
talking about things in the past.
And
but
even in the moment,
Jen-
I was like,
yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I asked it a good moment.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's what I'm saying. I was clueless. I was
Yep.
like,
Yep.
there-
Yeah. But it was so funny. In this, they thought Danny was the clueless one. Like you're just saying, like, ask me out, and Danny's like, wait, is there a good time? It was so funny.
That was great. Yeah, I'm sure
So-
there
Had
were
to
many little moments
play
like
it
that.
off like that.
Yep.
So
it was
congrats.
fun
Thanks, guys.
though.
Harry Potter brings people together. So
Sure does.
people who are watching the podcast from the beginning have seen your guys' entire progression of the relationship.
Literally.
Pre-dating. Now you guys were dating. Now you guys are engaged.
Yeah.
And we're only going to be engaged for like 4 months till the wedding, so only 3 more months.
I know.
So all the way to wedding, etc. This podcast is covering it all.
I know.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
That's
All aspects
amazing.
of life,
Yep,
so.
so funny. So yeah,
That is crazy.
we'll see.
That was funny though when we're like, should we date? Because this podcast could get real awkward real fast.
yeah. Worth the risk.
It was a risk, yeah,
Yep.
but worth the risk.
And then I think because we took this break, it was good because Jen's sister got married and there was a lot of planning along with that. But we were not engaged when we took this break. So Jen didn't even realize that. And then I'm like, oh, yikes, we might really need a break. So now that we're engaged, we'll also be doing a lot of wedding planning. So we'll see. I think we'll slow the pace, make sure it's chill. And then we might not be able to do every week, certainly when the wedding and honeymoon and all that. But yeah, it's great.
Yep. We'll have to space them out now.
Did anyone guess? That we
I
Yeah,
know.
I'm
It's-
serious.
I
If
know, I'd
anyone
love
knew.
to know.
I know. Because
to
I
have
threw
a
it on
poll.
in the with well, like I said we had 2 announcements. A lot of people guessed we have merch coming up soon, but
Excellent.
no one really guessed that. And that would have been a hard one to guess, to be honest.
So true.
Yeah, I
but-
don't think. Well, some people
I
were
know.
picking
Yeah.
up on
I know.
things, so that's why I was like, maybe they're
clues
better
were
than
there.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JK level cruise.
I know.
though. Clues. Yeah. You'd have to
really
be
were.
very astute, but
That's why it was almost fun keeping it a secret to see if anybody did pick up on it. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Me, like we're sitting here, like you guys are having a conversation, and we're like looking at each other, like, oh, like, they're clearly talking about something.
yeah.
You do that
But-
often.
You know, every once in a while.
Oh man,
But that was so good.
it was funny.
Harry Potter
Crazy.
bringing people together. It's great. I
Yep.
love it. That's what
Yeah.
it does.
Who knew you were wanting to read Harry Potter just to get close?
I don't even like Harry Potter.
I love that.
No,
Now look at
I
you.
did always want to read it in some vague sense.
That just propelled it.
Exactly. If anyone else asked me to, it would not have happened quite
Yeah.
in the way that it did. You know what I mean?
Okay, and
job,
just to
Jen.
clarify this too,
You
because-
created this.
You created a monster.
I did.
just to clarify this too, because some people don't believe this, but you guys have never read Harry Potter before or don't know anything about how it's going to end, right?
No,
Right.
I only read the first 2, and I only watched probably the first 2 or 3.
And
I have no idea how it ends.
Yeah, and I watched the movies, and in theory, I saw them all. But now, like that last movie we watched, I'm like, I have never seen that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't remember exactly what it all looked like, but it was when I was going to Universal and I watched all the movies in what felt like a week. I thought I watched them all, but I remember downloading movies for the plane. And then I don't even remember if I got through them all or if I was
Yeah.
watching at time and a half or whatever. So this feels like whatever I stopped is not. Oh, you
that a
don't do
thing?
that? I do
No.
that for
That's a
Netflix
thing?
reality shows, certainly. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
And when I
While
listen to
driving.
podcasts, I do it at double time.
Yeah.
It's great. So yeah, I honestly don't remember, but this is all uncharted territory.
Sorry. You would like watch it and fast forward?
no. On Netflix, you can adjust this pace that you watch it, so you can up it to like 1.5 speed, and then all the visuals, all the audio is just faster.
Did you?
It's like fast forward, yeah.
Is it like
Yeah.
a known thing? Oh.
I don't know
didn't know
how
you could
known
do
it is.
that.
Most
I do it
people
with
wouldn't watch
podcasts.
that way.
I mean, I knew podcasts.
Yeah.
But no, Netflix does that too, and I don't remember anything about the
Reality TV
specifics,
shows,
but
though.
I just know that that's what I do when I'm trying
Like
to power
Love
through
is
stuff.
Blind and stuff.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
does that?
Fast
Yeah.
forward it.
Big time.
While
I want to
driving.
make sure I can watch it all.
I'm
but,
not joking.
There's not that much time. What?
Because
Don't watch things while driving.
Well, only sometimes.
That's not safe.
because when you if
Oh,
you
boy.
I mean you know this, when you try to listen to it at normal speed, you're like, why is this dragging so much? If you watch like a reality TV show like Love is Blind on like
Sorry.
normal speed, you're like, this is the slowest moving show I've ever seen.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it is.
I kinda get that.
true.
Sorry. Anyway, I don't know where you were going. I just
Oh no,
said-
just to say that it's all uncharted territory at this point. So
all right,
Yeah.
a few
we're
someone
also-
wanted to do this. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was funny because we're both not readers, as we've
Yeah.
said, and we met at book club. So
Yep.
it's just
No.
funny that we didn't throw that in there too.
Yep,
And
so
then
true.
that's how we met at the brewery to talk about Harry Potter.
Yep.
yep. Couple of
Before you even read
non-readers
it.
meeting
Yeah.
at book club,
Yep.
bonding over reading a bunch of books.
It
Crazy.
was- yeah, that was so funny. Because when you guys started coming to book club, I'm like, Jen isn't necessarily a reader. I didn't necessarily know that you were in a reader. We just had kind of like we weren't. we were in each other's lives for a few
Yep.
years, and you started coming, and I was like, oh, cool, Danny's here. And then Danny would come and then kind of just like
Bounce.
as soon as it was done.
He's out.
And I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And then that whole
would
happened, and I was
never
like, oh,
talk.
there we go.
There we
Putting it
go.
together.
Yeah, and he's moving seats so you could see the children's book better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted a better angle at the story. It had nothing to do with being next to you. I mean, you know.
He says this now. I was like,
That's
oh, I
so
do
great.
remember
And then
you moving
afterwards,
seats.
I'm like sitting there, and Jen's talking to the other way to somebody. I was just like,
Yeah, it was Kristen.
guess I'll just keep waiting.
She was sitting next to me, and you gave him the book, The Preacher's
that was-
Secret.
Which is a great book. Just
Wow.
finished it in January. So I guess
And-
I'm a reader
yeah.
now.
Someone is asking, is there going to be some kind of Harry Potter flourish at your wedding?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't know what
Subtle.
yet.
Like
Well,
honestly, a bookish one. It's not
even
going to be like Harry Potter themed.
our centerpieces will be books.
Yeah.
So we've got like multiple books stacked with like flowers and things. But we're ordering all of the pieces to these centerpieces. And we're gonna assemble them and see if we can make them look good. But at least that.
But yeah, there's some like extra photos that I thought would be fun to do, like on
Yeah.
the side.
I'll keep my wand in my pocket the whole time. So, you know.
Or like also,
my jacket,
he gave
whip
me
it
a
out.
pin. Do you remember in the beginning? He gave me
Yep,
a Gryffindor
Gryffindor pin.
Maybe that'll make an appearance
Oh my
somewhere.
gosh, do you remember that? He comes in and he's like, you know, what did you say? You were like, I like found only this. He was like, I don't know. I tried looking for other houses, but he's like, I could only find the Gryffindor. Here,
Yep.
Jen.
In front of everyone.
I didn't even pick up on that. That's so great.
Excellent.
Oh, man.
Okay. Someone wanted us to do this, and I think this is a good idea because you guys like trivia and we do trivia nights. Someone wanted me to quiz you guys on some general stuff for book 1 through 5, just so we can kind of like get refreshed and things.
A quiz without spoilers. This is excellent.
Yeah, some of these are going to be obvious questions. I literally just typed in ChatGPT. Give me 3 trivia questions for each
brilliant.
book, and so I'm going to ask you guys these ones.
Wait, but then how do we answer it?
They
Like 1,
most of them
2,
should be
3, go.
Yeah,
'Cause-
yeah, I like that.
You want to make it a competition, as always.
She's like, I need to win.
I like this. All right, we'll do a competition. First one to speak out of you two.
Wow.
So I'm going to read the
1,
question. I have to
2,
finish the question.
3.
I don't even have to finish the question. You can say it. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
We need like buzzers.
How about finish the question though?
Okay,
All
I'll
right,
finish the
okay.
question.
Because
Fair.
if it could change the question halfway through.
Yep, but that's
the risk.
Yeah, it's
Jeopardy
the risk
style.
if you guys get it
Oh
wrong.
gosh! All right, fine. What do
Okay.
you want to do? Finish the question or
Sure.
just okay? Fine.
Book 1. Some of these are really easy too.
I'm not like so worried about it.
I need to.
She's like readjusting.
All right. Book number 1, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone. Question 1. What is the name of the 3-headed dog guarding the Philosopher's Stone?
Fluffy.
Jen gets a point.
You waited
keep
for me.
scoring.
I saw you.
I'm just giving you a false sense of confidence.
Question number
Thanks.
2. What house at Hogwarts does Harry Potter get sorted into?
Gryffindor.
Tie.
Tie.
Wait, are we waiting for the question to be done, or can we answer in the middle?
No,
of
you
it?
can answer.
All
I'd say
right,
you can
cool,
answer in the
cool.
middle of it. Okay. What is the final obstacle Harry and his friends face before reaching the Philosopher's Stone?
Oh shoot. Chess?
I think you're right,
Or was
but
it
I'm trying
the
to think if there was
keys?
one more step. No,
Oh,
it
it's
was,
potions.
Yeah.
There you go.
Potions.
Oh, nice. I literally thought potions was first.
Because in
Nice.
the movie it's chess, but there's one
Yeah.
more room. There's a potions room after that.
Excellent.
I remember talking about
Good
it.
job, Jen.
I
Respect.
jumped.
I know.
The answer surprised even you.
What is the name of the dragon that Hagrid has a soft spot for?
Norbert.
Nice. All right. So what are we at? 3-2? Or yeah, because it's a tie. 3-2. All right. Book number 2. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. These ones are easier, I think. But what creature does Harry encounter in the Chamber of Secrets?
A phoenix?
A basilisk.
Oh shoot, I'm way ahead.
But you know
both
what?
kinda
The
right,
Phoenix
though,
was
yeah.
in there. He did,
Wow.
encounter it.
Well done. We'll both give you a point for that.
Nice.
What is the name of the ghost who haunts the girls' bathroom?
Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah, nailed it. All right, we're tied 4 apiece. What does Ron accidentally curse during a dueling club meeting?
Teacup. No. Wait.
What does he curse? Accidentally. During
With his
a dueling
broken
club.
wand? Because I thought it was, what's his name? The professor, but it's a thing.
Wait, this
I don't
is a
think
poorly
I'm
worded
gonna-
question. Who?
It's
We'll
who,
say
right?
who, yeah.
It's the professor.
I looked it up.
What the heck was his name? You're gonna beat me, aren't you? Since you have a character list.
I don't remember this part, so I'll say Lockhart.
Yeah, that's it. I wanted to.
But
no?
that's only because you were like
No.
leading me there. Because I'm like, I don't remember. Was it Snape that he hit?
It's Seamus.
Seamus.
He hits
What did he do?
Seamus, I think.
But with what?
I was
it
even
a-
looking this up because I don't even remember
I
this.
don't think
I
that's
said he
right.
No,
accidentally.
that does sound right. But it wasn't anything
But he
major.
accidentally did Lockhart too. Isn't that book 2? Or is that book 3?
Yeah, that's the end of it.
Because he
Right?
like.
I
He-
thought
he
I thought it was
vomited
referencing.
slugs
Yeah,
later,
but that was when
that was later.
That was when Malfoy called Hermione a name, which we will not say around here,
Yeah,
even though we
yeah.
already said
Oh,
it in this
that's
pod.
true.
And then I think that was when his broken wand hit himself, and he was he said eat slugs. But that wasn't during Dueling Club. So Dueling
Yeah.
Club, I don't remember, but it sounds that could be right. Poor Seamus.
That was a weird one. No one gets points for that. All right, last one for this book. What creature is born when a chicken's egg is hatched under a toad?
Wow. From book 2, a chicken's egg hatched under a toad. Under a toad?
I feel like it would be one of Hagrid's mixed blood things.
Crazy creatures.
The spitting something.
I remember that.
This is
Slugs?
It mentioned
No.
this, I think, in one little sentence.
I remember
But a
it because we
basilisk.
talked about. Oh, that's
basilisk?
right.
Yeah.
I was like, we talked about this. I remember
my
talking
goodness,
about
I was
it.
going to say a cockatrice.
Oh, yeah. That would be a good guess, but
A basilisk. Interesting.
It comes from a chicken and a toad.
Yeah.
There must be more to it, though.
Stupid.
Random.
That can't be that simple.
And
Yeah,
a
yeah.
snake
Basilisk.
appears. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
The
All
Wizarding
right.
World, you never know.
Book 3, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. What is the name of the hippogriff that Harry befriends?
Oh.
Buckbeak.
Buckbeak.
Yeah. Danny.
He
It's
was
5 to
waiting
4.
for me too.
Who is revealed to be Sirius Black's animagus form?
Wait, what? Say it again.
Huh? What kind of question is that?
I think it means a dog,
Yeah.
but
We'll skip
poorly
that one.
worded.
Yeah, poorly worded. What spell is used to repel a Dementor?
Oh,
Expecto Patronum.
Jen's like, a half second there. Just say
and
it
also,
quicker than him and louder.
You do know that I can't remember spells
Yeah.
ever. So I was screwed.
Yeah, those are tough ones.
What is the name of Hermione's cat?
Oh my gosh.
Crookshanks.
This is not fair because all these names I suck
I
at.
know names here. It's rough.
Names are hard because I don't read it.
This is all
Listen.
practice for when we go do Harry Potter trivia at the end of all this.
Who is the divination professor at Hogwarts?
When? Oh, this is book 2?
Book 3.
Book 3.
Divination professor.
Oh,
Sybil
Trelawney.
Trelawney.
She said Trelawney first, so I'm guessing
out.
going
You
for
finished.
Jen.
No, he's giving me points. It's cheating.
She's like, I don't like it.
It's because we're a team. You can be my wife.
All right, book 4, Harry Potter and the
crazy.
Goblet of Fire. Who is Harry's date for the Yule Ball?
Oh, the twins. Patel twins.
Yep. There you
One
go.
of them.
One of
I
them.
don't remember which one.
With
I
a
don't
P?
even remember their
No.
names right now.
Pavardi.
Pavardi.
Pavardi Patel.
Is that a P?
And who's the other sister?
Padma.
Padma.
Oh, they're both.
Padma and Pavardi. Nice.
She's like the P one.
Question 2. Which dragon does Harry face in the first task of the Triwizard Tournament?
The horntail dragon.
Yeah.
Hungarian Horntail.
Hungarian
Nice.
Horntail, yeah.
Nice.
All right, we'll say it's 7
I wouldn't
apiece.
have gotten that though. You got me there.
Yeah, right. What is
No,
it?
truly.
What's the score? I need to know.
7-7.
Excellent.
Who helps Harry breathe underwater during the second task of the Triwizard Tournament?
Oh, Dobby.
Nice.
Good
that was a
job.
good one.
You
That
knew
was
that,
good.
though.
In the movies,
No, I
it's
actually
Neville.
didn't. I was like, wait, the movies were different.
Yeah.
And then even now, I don't remember. Did Moody get Dobby to do that?
Yeah. He
Okay.
was well. He was
Fake
talking out
Moody.
loud about
Fake
it.
Moody. Yeah. Oh,
With-
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
With McGonagall?
I think McGonagall or
to
someone.
get. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
What is the name of the journalist who covers the Triwizard Tournament?
Rita Skeeter.
Ooh, nailed it. 8-7. All right, last book, Order of the Phoenix. What is the magical creature that Harry can see when wearing Luna Lovegood's spectrum?
Oh, shoot. I could describe them, but I don't know their name.
This is different. Wait, what'd you say?
Thestral. Ooh.
when she's.
'Cause this is the question. It's Luna and Harry can see it, but it's not that creature. It's not a Thestral. This is the creature that Harry can see when wearing Luna Lovegood's spectra specs.
I can't
Oh,
answer
that was
now.
at the
Now you get to.
Quidditch. No, it wasn't the Quidditch. Wasn't it? You know what it is?
No, I don't.
I don't
I'm
know
just
if this
trying
is
to
a
think.
movie specific one, to be honest. But the answer is Raxperts.
What
Oh,
the
yeah,
heck
never,
is that?
never would have
I
gotten
think that was a movie specific.
I don't even know
one,
what
to
that
be honest.
is.
No, I don't either.
I know.
What is it?
I don't remember her glasses either.
It's little things that
so-
fly around your brain and make them fuzzy.
Oh.
I don't remember.
I think that's a
that at
movie
all.
specific one. I don't think that's actually in the books.
Sounds a little
Maybe these
familiar.
are weird movie ones. Who gives up the Dumbledore's army?
Marietta.
Oh, Marietta Edgecombe.
Yeah, that was a betrayal.
Yeah,
I wonder if she still has sneak on her forehead
I know. I hope so.
forever.
Hermione was the one that did that too.
Ooh.
Again,
Yeah,
a
another
little
like,
weirdness from Hermione.
intense Hermione move.
Which I love.
Yeah, it's legit. I like it too. But that's why it feels like she's changing as a
Punishment.
person. She's growing, becoming a little more Gryffindor, a little less Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Maybe. Yeah.
Hold on, this one.
The hat knew.
Some of these questions are weird. I don't know if this is a legitimate question. This one is: what is the name of the creature that guards the entrance to the Department of Mysteries?
There was a creature there?
No, I mean,
I don't think so.
Like,
Was
People
it
were
the
guarding it.
fountain?
Yeah, I was gonna say the fountain probably.
and like once they were in there, they encountered the brains, but that wasn't
Yeah.
guarding anything.
How about who are the people who work in the Department of Mysteries? What are they called?
Untouchables. I don't remember.
Unspeakables.
Speakable. I was like,
That's right.
And then let me find one more question. This is an easy one. Who became the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher at Hogwarts?
What's her name? The annoying one.
Nailed it. We'll just call her the annoying one for now on. Crushed it.
Humphrey. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
What the heck is her name?
Dolores Umbridge.
Umbridge. I was saying Humphrey.
I was trying to help you out.
All right, AI made some bad questions in that one, but all right, now let's get into some other discussions. So, we're just doing chapter 1, so I just kind of want to talk about some things in chapter 1. But before we talk about that, I just want to talk about how you guys liked chapter 1. Where does this rank so far in your favorite of chapters chapter ones of openings to the books?
I still like the other one better with
Yeah.
Was that book the wizard?
Yeah, Goblet.
Yeah, Goblet of Fire.
because
That was
that's what
my
opened with
favorite.
Frank. And
Yeah,
yeah.
that was good.
That was like guns a-blazing.
So nothing's beat that so far
Yeah.
I think this is my second favorite though.
Yeah.
because
Well, I love the openings that are quiet and calm and just Harry and the Dursleys and the
don't.
stress of that. Like only because it's comforting and all that. This was different because it was not a calm open. It was things already happened during the summer. We're getting a bit of a recap, jumping straight into the action. It's mid-July. Weird though, so far, this is not from Harry's perspective. Even
Yeah.
the Frank one, at the end, I think it was at the end of the chapter
like a
or the
dream.
beginning of the next, we realized it was all in Harry's head. So we still never left his head as far as like writing. so far we're still out there in the world. It apparently is not in Harry's head. So I don't know if she's changing her style or if Harry's going to wake up from another thing or this is all going to be a story being told to Harry or something. Yeah, so very interesting. I think that expands the possibilities of where she can go with the story if we can leave Harry's perspective. So I'm curious if that will continue.
She's done this in really small ways before of moving perspectives. Like watching Harry play Quidditch has been through Hermione's perspective, kind of, rather than Harry's. So like that's how they saw Quirrell, or that's how they saw Snape. They thought Snape was the one doing the incantation.
Right.
So it's kind of through Hermione's, but it's been so small and subtle you kind of don't really notice it. So it's this is the first. That's not the first, but it's like the clearest indication that she's kind of coming out of Harry's mind. But it could be a dream you see later on or something.
I love that it was outside the wizarding world.
Yep.
You got like removed from it a little bit.
Yeah.
It came into our world.
That was kind of.
I know. I love the title of it too, because the other minister, you're thinking the other minister is the prime minister, and then you realize that halfway through the prime minister is the one that calls the minister of magic the other minister, and you're like, wow, just the perspective shifts for this chapter are so good.
Great.
Not that this matters, but is it minister of magic or minister for magic? Because I've been calling it minister of magic.
I think it is.
This
Yeah,
book
Minister of
says
Magic.
minister for.
Oh, so
Well, that's
like,
why it's because it's from the prime minister's perspective.
like he can't remember.
So he can't
Again, it was like,
he
remember.
mixes
an
it up.
That's why her
consequential
writing
detail,
here is
but I was
so
like,
good.
like, did I miss that? I was like, I've been calling it something different the whole time.
It's like a shift
That
of
makes
perspective
sense.
in a brilliant way.
Yep.
Like she confused you by saying some of the kind of stuff that it's a little bit off, but you don't quite understand why.
Yeah.
And it's that perspective shift that you're back into the Muggle world.
Genius.
I know. So give me a summary of this chapter. Back to summaries.
Oh, boy.
Jen, you want to do summaries this book?
Hey, started.
Jen's the one that's doing summaries all this book. Hit us.
You do the fun summaries. No?
You wrote one.
Oh, boy.
I actually didn't write one, so yeah.
All right. Well, we meet the Muggle Prime Minister, who is filled in with the goings-on in the wizarding world. And Fudge has been sacked, and we find out who the new Minister of Magic is. Scrimgeour.
We also, this is a side note, in one of the first few podcasts, Danny had mentioned he had a bunch of wands. And there was one character that he didn't know and he didn't want to read. And
This
the
is it,
wand
right?
that you have is Rufus Scrimgeour.
Yeah. It starts with an R, 5
Rufus
letters.
Scrimgeour. You can say however you want.
Oh, yeah. How do you say it?
Scrimgeour. Scrimgeour.
I said
Scrimgeour?
Scrimgeour.
Scrimgeour.
I like it.
That works. It's fine. The book opens up.
That's funny.
It was nearing midnight, and the Prime Minister was sitting alone in his office, reading a long memo that was slipping through his brain without leaving the slightest trace of meaning behind. So, what did you guys think of how this book opened?
I was a little bit confused at first, but I was also listening to it. So I think that was because I didn't know where we were
Yeah.
starting. I was a little confused because it was different than she normally starts her books.
It's a little disorienting.
But then I was like, oh, okay, I'm following. And then it was an interesting. I liked the back and forth. I like being on he's like clueless, the prime minister, and he's like, what the heck? You guys had something to do with this, and everyone's
Yeah.
blaming me.
I like how they explain things too in this chapter. And we'll talk about this even later, but how in each intro chapter, I think you were mentioning this even when we did the second book. You're like, the first chapters are sometimes boring because it's like she's saying, oh, Harry Potter, she's introducing you to Harry Potter again. You're like, we read the first book. You don't have to do this.
Yeah.
But this is a really good way to do it because she's like bringing back everything that came before from a Muggle's perspective. And you're like, this guy's innocent. And it just is such a clever way to do it.
So true.
And like to bring back all the previous books and like remind people who Harry is and what happened in the Goblet of Fire and people who died and prison breaks and all that kind of stuff.
It was like seamless.
Actually,
Yeah.
you're right. Until talking about it now, I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't get it. But now
Yeah.
I get it more.
It's a clever way to do it.
I like that she changed it, though, because it was kind of the same
Yeah.
old.
You were not back at the
But then you're
Dursley,
saying
which
that
is
she's getting
nice.
more mature with the writing, too. So this is fitting for
I know,
or maybe
yeah.
that's why it's more
Yeah.
mature.
Danny, you liked how this opened?
I did. Oh yeah, I thought it was great.
Was this your favorite
Let me see.
intro so far?
Not favorite, but second favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting in the Muggle world, first thing I wrote. And then he's expecting a call from the president of a distant country. Mm-hmm. Which country? But yeah.
And then they just
Great.
say, "Oh, we'll modify his memory. Don't worry, he'll call you tomorrow." You're like, "What the heck?
Like, yeah, I was like, hold on.
What are these wizards doing?"
Because
This
we
is
did talk
insane.
about that at some point where we were like talking about Muggle relations. You probably brought it up because you knew this was coming and you were trying to prod us in this direction. But it seems so crazy.
Yeah.
They really do run the world.
They run the world
Yep.
behind the
They can
scenes.
just
Yeah.
modify
Everyone's
people's
puppets.
brains. That's
Around,
wild.
girls.
Yeah. We run the world, Beyonce.
Yeah, we walked into the wedding reception. All the girls.
Oh, really?
To that
I love
song.
that. That's a great one.
Sorry, it just
It was
was
a great one.
set up for that.
Even there's so much good stuff to talk about in this chapter, but there's this other line where it says he turned over the second page of the memo, saw how much longer it went on, and gave up as a bad job. Stretching his arms above his head, he looked around the office mournfully. It was a handsome room with a fine marble fireplace facing a long sash window, firmly closed against the unseasonable chill. With a slight shiver, the Prime Minister got up and moved to the windows, looking out at the thin mist that was pressing itself against the glass. It was then, as he stood with his back to the room, that he heard a soft cough behind him.
I'm
No.
thinking of when you're done. Sorry.
You're good, what?
The mist. I thought that he said that's when they're breathing. I'm like, that's disgusting.
I know.
It's
That's
always
one of my
misty.
questions. Will you ever look at mist the same way?
And I just thought, how?
I thought they were all men. Or male, I should say.
What did you do? Just like
Wow.
breathe on each other?
Ew.
They give the kiss of death.
You're going to be walking through mist at any point in your life. You're going to be like,
Oh.
this is disgusting. You're walking through Dementor stuff.
But then it's so funny because like England is always like that, right? Isn't that the
That's why you're
normal?
always depressed.
Normal.
Sorry,
Yeah.
English people.
Not that I really know, I've never been.
Okay, when this line says this, that's such a funny point. Everyone makes that comment. It's so gross. This line at the very end, it was then as he stood with his back to the room that he heard a soft cough behind him. Did you think for a half second that it was the him of Umbridge?
Whoa.
Could you imagine if she comes back the first chapter
That
in
would
this
be
book?
so rough. But instead, we're seeing her father's painting.
Right?
Bum, bum.
Yeah, I know. Because it
only
describes
'cause
him as a toad-like
Frog-like.
person.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a
Oh
second.
my
I
gosh.
missed
I didn't.
I'm like, this is a frog-like man. Maybe he passed away and gave a job to his daughter before he did. But
Oh boy.
he's still got paintings around to haunt us.
Yeah. I'm actually curious if there is some kind of relation between Umbridge and this guy. Because this is the description. It was coming, as the Prime Minister had known at the first cough, from the frog-like little man wearing a long silver wig who is depicted in a small and dirty oil painting in the far corner of the room. To the Prime Minister of Muggles. Urgent we meet. Kindly respond immediately. Sincerely, Fudge. The man in the painting looked inquiringly at the Prime Minister. And then Fudge comes in. I have a few other lines that are just great, and we'll kind of talk about some of these. What?
It was just loud.
He was not remotely pleased to see Fudge, whose occasional appearances, apart from being downright alarming in themselves, generally meant that he was about to hear some very bad news. Furthermore, Fudge was looking distinctly careworn. He was thinner, balder, and grayer, and his face had a crumpled look. The Prime Minister had seen that kind of look in politicians before, and it never boded well. At this, the Prime Minister had found his voice at last. So this is kind of when Fudge kind of walks him through things. You're not a hoax, then? So actually, this was when he kind of had a flashback on all this
To the first time.
First
Yeah,
time he saw.
Mm.
So he goes, "You're not a hoax, then?" It had been his last desperate hope. "No," said Fudge gently. "No, I'm afraid I'm not. Look." And he had turned to the Prime Minister, and he turned the Prime Minister's teacup into a gerbil. "But," said the Prime Minister, breathlessly watching his teacup chewing on the corner of his next speech, "but why has nobody told me? The Minister of Magic only reveals him or herself to the Muggle Prime Minister of the day, said Fudge, poking his wand back inside his jacket. We find it's the best way to maintain secrecy. But then, bleated the Prime Minister, why hasn't a former Prime Minister warned me? At this, Fudge actually laughed. My dear Prime Minister, are you ever going to tell anybody?
I don't buy it.
It's funny though because I thought that he wiped their memories. You know,
He
like
definitely does.
oh,
That's why he
you're
laughed. That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
He's like, haha,
Whatever.
will you tell anyone? But he knows.
Yeah.
On his last day, they're going to walk in there and just,
Interesting. So you think that they just wiped the memories of the Prime Minister?
I don't think they
I
would
thought-
risk it. And you thought so too, right?
No. I thought that he was being serious, saying that like no one ever says it because you sound crazy.
True.
But we could wipe everyone's. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It depends what they need them to do. Like,
I feel like it would
Feels a
be
little weird.
good though to keep having like the
having contacts in the Muggle world.
with like the older prime ministers that are retired or whatever.
Yeah, seriously. Because that's what Fudge is doing that as the like what is it, cabinet member almost to Scrimgeour now. He's like staying in his services
Yeah.
and being the communication for the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
That's all he was good at.
Yeah, I know.
He sucked at everything else.
Yeah.
It feels weird that Fudge wasn't introduced the same way. Like, although I guess that would also make sense because
Fudge wasn't interested. What do you mean?
at the end, Fudge was the one who showed up originally to the Prime Minister to introduce Scrimgeour,
However you want. Scrimgeour. I say Scrimgeour.
Scrimgeour. And he kind of like helped make that an easier transition. So I'm surprised they wouldn't do the same thing on the Muggle side when this Prime Minister took office, that they kind of say, hey, I'm the old Prime Minister. Before you go, here's a little, intro to another person, just to make it easier. Because otherwise, he feels like he's going crazy. It just feels like a lot. Also, maybe when the Wizarding world was less crazy before Voldemort was coming back, maybe they didn't even need to involve the Muggle Prime Minister.
yeah. Probably
So I'm
not.
curious if this is always or if this is kind of a new thing that they're like, well,
Yeah.
we actually do need to involve the Muggles because it's beyond our control. When Sirius broke out of Azkaban and stuff, they're like, let's do some crazy stuff.
Yeah. And because all this other crazy stuff's happening, like they thought
Yeah.
the hurricane that was there, the bridge is collapsing, all this other stuff. So they got to let them know of something.
Were we ever introduced to Scrimgeour or whatever his name is?
Only at the very end of this chapter.
Yeah.
But on
Not in any of
previous.
the
ones.
Oh, previous,
no.
no.
All right, good. Because
Yeah.
I was like, am I crazy?
No, this is the first time we know of him. And well, I'll ask you guys what your first impression of him is in
I
a
thought
bit.
it was
when
going to
we
be
get there.
Dumbledore for some reason.
Right? When Fudge walks into this room, did you think he was still Minister of Magic?
Yeah.
Did that kind of bother you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
'Cause
like,
he
there's
was
no way he's still
acting.
minister.
Yeah.
As if, but he comes in like he is.
Yeah,
And
and
then,
then we find out he was. Yeah.
It made me laugh because I was like, he walked in there like a little, like, what's the word?
A little
Chihuahua.
chatterbox almost.
Yeah, like a little
Chihuahua.
gossiper.
Yeah.
And he's just like telling all this stuff. I mean, obviously it was his job,
Yeah.
but I laughed out loud when he was like, "No, I got sacked 3
Yeah.
days ago."
That moment you're like, yes.
Yeah, it was
Feels
very
so good.
satisfying, but it was just so funny to me. I don't know why.
it was satisfying.
So this is one line when Fudge is talking to the minister. He says this, or the Prime Minister says, "So you think that?" He had squinted down at the name in his left hand. Lord Vol, he who must not be named, snarled Fudge. I'm sorry, you think that he who must not be named is still alive then? Well, Dumbledore says he is, says Fudge, as he had fastened his pinstripe cloak under his chin. But we've never found him. If you ask me, he's not dangerous unless he's got support, so it's Black we ought to be worrying about. You'll put out that warning then? Excellent. Well, I hope we don't see each other again, Prime Minister. Good night. Do you think that at this moment that Fudge... So this is like, again, when Sirius Black had kind of like...
That's like a flashback. Because
Flashback.
at first I was
Still.
confused.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
I got...
That was a flashback.
Even
for when he
listening
was-
to the first time, though.
He was alerting the Prime Minister about Sirius Black's escape from Azkaban. But do you think that Fudge actually believed Dumbledore there?
No.
It kind of felt like he did a little bit.
Really?
Like only a little bit because
He's like, that's what
enough
Dumbledore
that
said.
the Prime Minister said, I'm sorry, you think that he's still alive then? So the way that Fudge was speaking implied it enough that the Prime Minister picked up on it and said, oh, you think he's still alive? And he says, well, Dumbledore says he is. So it felt to me when I read that Fudge actually thinks he is alive and around, but he had to give an excuse of he's not a threat unless he has support. So I think that was weird because then thinking forward, it was only all the more confirmed later that he actually was back, but Fudge still resisted it. So it made me dislike Fudge even more or find him like more of a coward because it seems like he actually does believe Dumbledore here.
What was the thing that changed in his mind then? Why did Fudge go from believing Dumbledore in this moment to not wanting anything to do with him in the 5th book?
That's what I'm not sure why he took that mental journey. And I'm interpreting it right now as fear, like just fear. And you play that game in your own head, like, well, maybe I'm just wrong because it's too much to bear the truth. But it could be something even more, but I don't know what, because if he kind of believes Dumbledore and from the time he said this to current time, it just was becoming more and more clear. But for all of book 5, he was resisting.
Yeah.
And I don't get why. It doesn't quite line up, but there could be some reasons we find out later. Again, he's still mysterious to us. He's got his own private army. So like, what's his deal? How'd he get elected?
You still think
What's
he's got his own
army?
private army?
I still believe it for sure. But I'm picturing his private army to be like a magic army. When we first read that part, I'm picturing he's one of these big wizarding families. He's loaded.
Yeah.
He has a gigantic house full of house elves and an army of magical things that he could have created himself. You know what I mean? Like, if you can make a teacup a gerbil, you can make that gerbil large and angry and fight for you.
When he gave the gerbil, the Prime Minister gave the gerbil to like his niece or something like that, right? They said
A little
that, so you're like,
ridiculous.
what the heck?
Wait, it did?
Yeah, he mentions that later
I
on.
missed that.
And what
too.
we've seen is also, it feels like sometimes the magic fades, but maybe Fudge is so good that it won't.
Yeah.
But it also would be funny if one day the niece just has a teacup in a gerbil
Yeah.
cage. Like, what just
I know.
happened?
It goes back.
So yeah, again, asking those questions of, are they able to create sentience with their wands and just be like, that's a real gerbil?
Yeah.
Or is it just a teacup faking gerbilness with
Yeah.
magic? I honestly don't know.
What's the difference?
It's a great question.
What is the
Sentience?
difference?
Does it
This
have a
gets
soul?
into some, yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
You're creating souls. Nice.
Can you create a soul in the wizarding world? That's such a fascinating question. Can you manipulate a soul? Because that's what transfiguration seems to be. Even when they take an animal and they convert it into like whatever it is, like what happens to that animal?
And like, how long does it last?
I know.
Is it forever?
It seems like it's
Until
forever.
you turn it back.
Yeah, like you can
In
turn it
some
back.
cases.
I guess, but that
It's
like
too
maybe the
bad they
soul of
didn't
that animal is
turn-
trapped in like an object, which is weird.
What's the rat's name?
Scabbers?
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't turn him into
I
a
know.
teacup and then just left him a teacup
Yeah.
because he was practicing on him.
A teacup
What,
forever.
that's the weirdest thing. I don't think that was just easy convenience to turn Scabbers into Wormtail. Still don't buy it really.
What, turning Scabbers into Wormtail?
Yeah, like this whole time Ron's family had
I know,
Wormtail.
for 12
like,
years.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems a little far fetched.
Yeah.
A little far-fetched.
And he was doing all these spells. He was fine being like the little guinea pig for the kids to learn magic.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
That just seems weird.
I think he started to enjoy being a rat.
Yeah.
It was a simple life.
Yep.
But
No fear of
He's-
death, contentment.
then why
food.
didn't he just stay that way?
I think because Voldemort came back and he saw a better
How would he
opportunity.
know? He's a rat.
Actually, that's a good question. How did that all come about? Oh, no, he didn't even want to. It's because Sirius found him. And he probably would have stayed a rat forever, but then
Oh, yeah, he forced
once
him.
Sirius came to find him and then was going to kill him, he had no choice but to like run. And then he ran to Voldemort, right? Yeah,
I guess.
at
But
midnight.
like, how did he know that Voldemort existed? I don't know.
I think he just needed, if his safe place went away and now he knew a wizard like Sirius was after him, he needed to find another safe place.
But how did he pick the Weasley? Like, it just seems.
Right.
Like-
Well, that's what I'm curious if we're going to
Yeah.
find more information. Like, why, after all of that, all the craziness he went through. He's living as a rat. He even went out to, it's implied, like Albania maybe, as a rat, right?
Yeah.
And he was like going all over the place. Why would he then say, you know what? I'm going to go live with the Weasleys. Seems a little weird. How? We don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
And it's like, how did he know that he would be friends with Harry?
I don't think that was his goal.
Yeah, I know, but just weird.
Yeah. Although they also literally could have planned that out too. Like, we need to get Harry eventually. We missed him on round 1. Scabbers, plant yourself as a spy. Ron, the young Weasley boy, is going to be Harry's age. He'll be in his class. So get into position. And then as a rat, if he was doing it strategically, maybe he like planted himself with Ron. He started biting all the other kids, but not Ron. And then Ron's like, all right, he'll be my rat then.
Right? He did bite the Slytherins.
Yeah, Crab and Goyle.
Yeah, he was biting them and stuff. So then it's like he was doing subtle little things to keep himself there potentially.
That was a moment in the first few where you spoiled who Scabbers was almost.
Oh gosh.
And I cut that out of the podcast because we were
My
talking
young
about
days of
Scabbers.
being on the podcast.
We were talking about Scabbers and we were like, I just threw out the question in the first book. I was like, what do you guys think of Scabbers, who's the hero of this little point, biting Crab's finger? And we're all like, yeah, he's great. We love him. I think Danny's like, oh, I love him right here. And Kristen just goes, oh, just wait. And I'm like, no,
Didn't I say something like, I can't say anything?
Yeah, that's right. I can't say anything. You know? And
funny.
Danny's like, oh, and
You were like,
Scabbers
well,
is coming back and I'm not going to like him or something.
I
Wow.
was like, oh no.
But he is an interesting guy. You question what his motives are, why he went with the Weasley family. Maybe we'll figure some of that out.
Maybe.
Maybe, guys.
That is
maybe.
the JK way.
I know.
He's the half-blood prince.
The JK way.
Okay, this is another way. This is another line that I think is really important. This is another flashback of when Voldemort rises to power again. He goes, Fudge took a great deep breath and said, Prime Minister, I am very sorry to have to tell you that he's back. He who must not be named is back. Yes, alive, said Fudge. That is, I don't know. Is a man alive if he can't be killed? I don't really understand it, and Dumbledore won't explain it properly. But anyway, he's certainly got a body and is walking and talking and killing. So I suppose for the purpose of our discussion, yes, he's alive.
I love that.
I know.
line. That section.
Such a good one. And what do you think Dumbledore won't tell him? Why won't he tell him?
He doesn't trust him. I
Okay.
don't know.
So he doesn't trust Fudge.
Yeah.
But what is Dumbledore not telling him? How he came back? What's so mysterious about that?
I think also the connection to Harry. Like that whole tie of like
That's
he's
right.
coming back.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter is tied to him to like in order to get rid of him. Like that connection, I feel like.
Because they haven't really, no one really does know about the connection. Because they made that pretty clear in Order of the Phoenix that no one knows about the connection really. And it's like kept under secret and kind of kept under wraps.
I feel like the twinkle in Dumbledore's eye at the end of, was it the end of the last book or 2 books ago? Oh yeah, 2 books ago when Harry was explaining the blood and how it all worked, and then he saw like a fleeting look that could have been a twinkle or a relief or whatever it was. We're given the impression that Dumbledore knows more about this maybe than Voldemort, and I feel like that's kind of what this is too, where Dumbledore doesn't want to explain it properly because if Fudge, who's boys with Lucius, starts explaining all of this, there could be more research. They go finding some ancient scrolls. They go digging through their libraries. And if they look into this deeper, they might discover more about how it all works. And I think Dumbledore's got some knowledge there that ultimately will be bad for Voldemort. So I think he's just keeping that knowledge close to the chest so that it can't get into the wrong hands. So Voldemort can't put different protections in place or whatever it might be. There's more to this. Enough that Fudge thinks he can't be killed, but I feel like Dumbledore has a plan that can kill him.
What do you think that plan is?
I don't know. And that's what I'm afraid of with Harry, because to be honest, this link, it's leaning more to the Harry sacrifice theory. If their blood is linked, if like death and all that, the prophecy says only one will die, but it also feels like they both might have to. So
Yeah.
that's a relatively simple solution. as painful as it would be to end the books with Harry dying.
Simple solution.
But like it just, at least it is a solution. But if it's not that, I don't know. Like something about Voldemort rising now, or ancient magic or something. And maybe that's again with the blood. Something more about the blood that has a downside, a negative, a backdoor death curse. I don't know.
Yeah, it's such a, it seems kind of like a throwaway line, but I think it's just so interesting. As he goes, is a man alive if he can't be killed? I don't understand it, and Dumbledore won't explain it properly. You're like, what the heck is going on there? So yeah, Dumbledore doesn't. Do you think Dumbledore would trust? Like, who do you think Dumbledore trusts with this information? Do you think he's telling anybody? Does Harry know this?
I don't think Harry knows anything. And yeah, I think Dumbledore's got his people. Just like he was talking to Ollivander, I feel like Dumbledore has trusted people in key places. I think something about Dumbledore and who he is, he bonds with people really, really well. So people like Nicholas Flamel, like Dumbledore was a kid when he was, hundreds of years old, but somehow he created a bond of trust there enough that Nicholas Flamel is giving him the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
Like things like that. And again, with Ollivander, he's putting these things into place. The teacher who did the OWL for Harry and saw Dumbledore do things with a wand nobody else could do. I feel like Dumbledore has a secret web of little birds, that he can kind of talk to and get things done through back channels. I don't know who those people are, but I think these are some of those people, and Fudge is certainly not one of them. So yeah, I think he has told people. I think there are people that are in the loop. I just don't know who.
Interesting.
I feel like he has to though too, in case anything happens to him.
Yeah, it's true.
In case anything happens to Dumbledore.
To Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need to know what to do.
Yeah, you're right. It would be silly to keep all the information yourself.
So I feel like he had, like
all your eggs in one
I
basket.
can agree with what you're saying.
I think Voldemort probably did the same thing. And that's how he could come back. He had backup plans for all this.
But what are Voldemort's backup plans? How is he able to rise again?
Because he manipulates everyone and he scares them or promises eternity.
Yeah.
So.
And he left enough of himself behind when he was killed.
That means.
But that's what we don't
Yeah.
get. Like, we're talking about sentience, and we're talking about like, if you can you clone yourself? Can there be another version of yourself? If you're making a diary of all your memories, how much is that diary you? I'm just thinking of all the movies that play along that line. Like the one I was just thinking of was The Island, with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson.
That was a good one.
So basically, in that movie, it's funny because they create a clone of a person who's rich, so that if the rich person needs a new kidney, they can take it from their clone. It's a perfect genetic match, whatever. And then the idea of then, if this clone escapes into the real world, for all intents and purposes, they are the other person. So they are treating the clones as if they're less than human, but like they are human and they are their own like being, and they can live independent of the other person. So I feel like it's kind of this similar vibe of, if you clone yourself, if you put yourself in a diary, if you talk to a painting forever, like at what point does it become its own thing? Does it become you? What if this or Prestige we talked about too, like eventually you have to kill your clone.
Yeah.
And
I haven't seen that in a long time.
so that idea that what if this isn't even the same Voldemort? It's a clone of the Voldemort that was around the first time, but we don't even know the difference. And maybe the original Voldemort did die, but there was another version of him that is now assuming the role of Voldemort. Yeah. And when you introduce time
Harry's
travel,
blood.
the same thing happens. Yeah, right. It's like, could be all sorts of things can happen, but
Well, one of the questions for that would be, why don't more people do that then?
I think
there
are
has to be some
sacrifices.
consequence.
Yep. You have to. It's got to have a negative thing that most people aren't willing to do,
Sucks
but Voldemort
your
is.
soul. Or you have to kill a bunch of people or something. Like a bunch of people have to die for you to be able to survive. That would make sense with him.
Yeah.
But normal people probably wouldn't want that.
So the consequence to that would be, you have to like kill people in order to make it happen.
that, or maybe there's something where you can't. There's some loss of power, or you can't have kids, or something where like you can't like
That's an
be
interesting one.
fully.
Sterilize yourself.
The kid thing also would kind of make sense because it's implied that Voldemort might want a son, might have a son.
Maybe.
Back with the discussion with Crouch Jr. When Crouch Jr. was kind of monologuing to Harry,
That
he mentioned,
was like a father.
yeah, something about more of a son or whatever. And we're kind of led to believe that was more about Crouch than Voldemort, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
You think he has a son with Bellatrix?
Well,
She'd be thrilled about that.
possible.
Having a child with Bellatrix, that'd be a weird kid.
That would be a psycho kid. Yeah, that would be
Poor
scary.
kid.
Yes.
This was the funny line about the mist. Now, see here, Fudge. You've got to do something. No, sorry. There's a line before. I thought Dementors guard the prison in Azkaban, he said cautiously. They did, said Fudge wearily, but not anymore. They've deserted the prison and joined He Who Must Not Be Named. I won't pretend that wasn't a blow. But, said the Prime Minister, with a sense of dawning horror, didn't you tell me that they're creatures that drain hope and happiness out of people? That's right. And they're breeding. That's what's causing all this mist.
That's what's so disgusting.
It's so gross.
Like, do they breed a lot? Like, how many?
Yeah.
They're
It's
like
always
rabbits.
misty in England, so yeah.
They're everywhere then. Like,
But what
That's a
are
little scary.
they? And why weren't they
know.
doing that before when they were
Yeah.
guarding? Like now all of a sudden they're free to do
they're
whatever
excited.
they want.
that Voldemort's
Ew.
Ew, that's disgusting.
Sorry.
Here is like the article on fandom. Dementors are born when there is so much pain and suffering in the air that they can materialize, or that can materialize itself. That means that most Dementors were created in the First and Second Wizarding War, or in the time of Grindelwald's attack in Europe. That's why Dementors can only be destroyed by the Patronum summoning charm, which is happiness.
They're destroyed that way? I thought they had to flee that way.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. That's like, I don't think they're actually destroyed that way. I think they just are shielded that way.
So they're they're just
I guess.
How do you get rid
necessarily
of them?
breeding.
Well, I guess they can breed now.
Yeah, maybe they weren't allowed
Initially,
to breed
yeah.
before.
Initially, they were born out of suffering and
Oh, that's like
misery.
the initial. Okay.
But I guess because there's so much suffering and misery because Voldemort's back, then they're like
okay.
they get excited
Interesting.
and happy. So then they start getting busy,
Having parties.
and that's what's causing all this mist. I'll never walk through mist the same.
Thanks.
This is another. There's just so many really good lines in this one, but this is when Fudge gets sacked. Now, see here, Fudge, you've got to do something. It's your responsibility as Minister for Magic. My dear Prime Minister, you can't honestly think I'm still Minister of Magic after all this. I was sacked 3 days ago. The whole wizarding community has been screaming for my resignation for a fortnight. I've never known them so united in my whole term of office, said Fudge, with a brave attempt at a smile. Do you have pity on Fudge at all?
No. Only the Prime Minister does.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have pity on him. I think he's getting... This is best case scenario for him.
Yeah.
He's getting time to actually continue being Minister of Magic and then slowly being put out of office when a new person is elected. I'm surprised he wasn't immediately booted and the vice president steps up or something.
Well, he kind of was. He was kind of immediately removed, and then
Is that what it
Scrimgeour
was?
took
Said
his
everyone
role.
has been so unanimous
I know.
on voting.
But
Yeah.
everyone's been like screaming for his resignation for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, that just gives me the impression of like, I'm surprised it wasn't that day.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it feels like there was still order. It was still technically he
who
was in
could take
charge. He
over
was
that
voted
quickly?
in. Yeah, maybe nobody could have.
They don't know
so
what's going on.
It took a
fully.
little bit of time. They eventually found the right guy. Yeah, I don't know. But it felt like I didn't feel bad for him because this felt like a pretty tame way of doing things.
yeah.
Giving him a few more weeks. He's even making introductions. He's still in the role. They're letting him step down with a little more honor than I think he deserved, which I was like, all right, so be it.
He should kind of be put in Azkaban right now.
Like, I'm surprised it didn't, like, there wasn't a full-on rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, is there even Azkaban anymore? If nobody's guarding it,
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too.
maybe they have to have wizard guards now.
Yeah, but these people got in there for a reason. They're probably smarter than guards
Hmm.
to get out.
Yeah, maybe.
This is another interesting line. I wish him luck, said Fudge, sounding bitter for the first time. I've been writing to Dumbledore twice a day for the past fortnight, but he won't budge. If he'd just been prepared to persuade the boy, I might still be... Well, maybe Scrimgeour will have more success. What does Fudge mean, persuade the boy? What are they trying to persuade Harry of? Or is Harry the boy?
I'm assuming, yes, Harry is the boy. I read that to be Harry is the one who has the control over whether or not Fudge is stepping down or not. It feels like maybe Harry is the one leading the charge in Fudge stepping down. Or maybe not necessarily that, because he wants Scrimgeour to have... he'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it can't be necessarily just about Fudge. But either way, I got the impression that Harry is leading some kind of charge of, like, we're at war now. This is the real deal. This is
Persuade him
serious.
For what, though?
And I think Fudge probably would have wanted less panic and saying, hey, let's keep things calm. And maybe Scrimgeour is trying to do the same thing of, like, hey, Harry, chill. Just like, we know it's a war. Stop freaking out. That's kind of the impression I got. I don't know. It's kind of vague.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his book and it says very large. Fudge fired, yes, with exclamation points.
Worth celebrating, indeed.
Finally,
in the
we've been
margin.
waiting for that. I think you guys predicted that too sometime in the past.
Probably we're good.
What is your impression of the new Minister of Magic, Rufus Scrimgeour?
I like him.
You like him?
Seems,
Yeah.
He seems good so far. He reminds me of like Lupin / Sirius / Dumbledore kind of like presence.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I could
He
see
Yeah.
gives slight Crouch vibes, but only in his dedication, not like in the bad way.
Yeah.
Crouch Senior. I liked the contrast between Fudge charging in. Fudge is on the way, and this guy sends a request ahead. The frogman in the painting is like asking, do you give permission for him to come?
Yeah.
And I think that's a polite way to start. That's knocking on the door instead of kicking the door down like it seems like Fudge was doing. And I think that's respectful, and it made me like him. He's being polite. He's still respecting the prime minister and his role.
That's why no one liked Fudge, though. That's why
Yeah.
he had to go.
Yep.
Yep.
So
He just does whatever he
that's pretty much
wants.
all we know about Scrimgeour. I still think he was a little bit dismissive, but he's a busy man, lots going on, and he's
I know.
talking to Dumbledore. He's writing Dumbledore a letter. We don't know what he's trying to say, if he's against Dumbledore, but I read that to be he cares what Dumbledore thinks. He knows how important Dumbledore is. So whether he's trying to convince Dumbledore of something, or he's requesting, or he's just asking for assistance or advice, I don't know.
So one thing I think this is mentioned in the previous book. Some people said that it was. And I don't know if we know what he did yet, but he was the head of the Auror office.
Oh, yes,
Scrimgeour.
it did say that.
So yeah, he's like a
I
big
missed
deal.
that.
And I like the description, even that the normal prime minister thought he looked like a wartime,
Oh, I
like,
missed
leader.
that too.
like he was like he understood why people wanted to vote him in.
Well, especially
rather than
now.
Fudge. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, a guy who's like been
They're
there,
at
who's
war.
seen things. Like even the prime minister's first foolish thought was that Rufus Scrimgeour looked rather like an old lion. There were streaks of gray in his mane, of his tawny hair, and his bushy eyebrows. He had a keen yellowish eye. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's like huffing and puffing into the wall. So it's like echoing.
He had a keen yellowish eyes behind a pair of wire-rimmed spectacles and a certain rangy, looping grace, even though he walked with a slight limp. There was an immediate impression of shrewdness and toughness, and the Prime Minister thought he understood why the wizarding community preferred Scrimgeour to Fudge as a leader in these dangerous times. So you guys what do you think of Scrimgeour, Jen? You like him? You not?
Yeah, I think from the description, it seems like he's gonna be good for the task ahead. But I don't know the relationship with Dumbledore and Harry. Like, if that's not good, it might not be a good match. So I don't know what. But I think anyone's better than Fudge.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll eat my
except for
words,
Umbridge. Anybody would be better than Fudge in this position.
Well, the two of them, yeah. They're like brother and sister.
If you guys had an ideal person to become Minister of Magic right now, who would it be?
Dumbledore. He's too busy.
Yeah.
But to that personality and wisdom and calmness, I would have.
Yeah, I feel like I would like to see Lupin or someone from the Order that we respect.
Yeah, I was thinking about Lupin. I
think
Lupin would be a
he's
good one.
so level-headed. He would make the most sense. No offense to Mr. Weasley. I don't think he'd be cut out for the job. Great heart. But Lupin, I actually think could do it. I feel like he would be good. Even Kingsley, I think, would be good.
Yeah.
But maybe he's more of an action man. He's an Auror. He wants to be on the streets. So maybe that wouldn't make sense. But yeah, Lupin's my best guess. Moody wouldn't be good.
He's too moody.
Hagrid wouldn't be good. Snape wouldn't be good. Even Dumbledore. Dumbledore thinks he is most effective at Hogwarts. So that's where he's got to be.
What do you think Dumbledore's up to? Why does he think he's most effective at Hogwarts? Why doesn't he become Minister of Magic and put a stop to this as quick as possible? Why? What is his play right now? Because if he wants to end this war, wouldn't be the most logical thing become Minister of Magic, forego his duties at Hogwarts for a little bit, and then...
I feel like there's something at Hogwarts, though. Some kind of magical protection or spell that, he knows is there. Ancient magic. Or something. I have no idea, but that's all I can think of because it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's all about the future and protecting the kids because they're the ones that are going to rise up.
Right. It does seem odd, but whatever he's already done and set up, it's funny, but he needs these kids. I mean, they're not fully kids anymore. Now they're teenagers, 16 or something, right? But they're still young, but it feels weird that he's using them instead of using Aurors and all these other powerful wizards we've seen. I wonder what is at Hogwarts. It's kind of like his own personal lab, maybe. He's built it up to be a pretty great school. He's got a lot of tools there. But you're right. I just don't understand why that's better. If he moved his whole office to the Minister of Magic,
yeah.
I feel like the founders of Hogwarts, though, they were all powerful wizards back then or witches.
Yeah.
So, I wonder if there are spells in there. They built this to protect kids. I don't know.
No, you're right.
Even though it's not
safer.
the safest place, but I don't know.
Safest place, Jen.
It's just
Help
strange.
will always
There's no
be
safer
given.
place.
Or
than
it has
Hogwarts.
a mind of its own and it self-protects in a way. What are the room that just appear
Room of requirement, yeah.
the room? Yeah, so I wonder if things like that.
I feel like that's true.
He has access to maybe.
And even the idea of Peeves and how he came about, the general energy of the students. Again, this is a place that has existed for so long, and there have been good wizards with good hearts existing in this location. I feel like that is a collective magic over time.
And also all the previous headmasters, right? All the portraits, that's a lot of information and history
right, even
and
simple things like that,
communication at a quick in one place.
Yep.
So that's what I think.
But yeah, I am curious. There's got to be something more, something that can't be moved, something, the magic or a tool.
The Half-Blood Prince is in Hogwarts.
Could be.
Who is it? Who's the Half-Blood Prince?
It's this thing right here.
That's the thing, huh?
Yeah.
That does look
Giving
like
it
it's on the
away.
top of a pillar. Maybe it's in Hogwarts somewhere.
This one doesn't have any. Oh, yeah, it does. Let's see with the back.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh no! Don't look at it, Jen.
I can't tell what it is.
Don't.
Oh, I can tell
Look
what
at
it is. That's cool.
These books, I can't believe that. I should have.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, that's
Because
kinda
I've
true.
done it with all the books and I've never gotten anything out of it. I'm just like, oh, that's what that was once I get it. But I do see 3 people I like, so that's good.
They live at least to a certain point.
Could be
this
in the
book.
beginning,
Excellent.
Hey, drop it.
This is the last line in the chapter, which is a great line. The Prime Minister gazed hopelessly at the pair of them for a moment. Then the words he had fought hard to suppress all evening burst from him at last. But for heaven's sake, you're wizards. You can do magic. Surely you can sort out, well, anything. Scrimgeour turned slowly on the spot and exchanged an incredulous look with Fudge, who really did manage to smile this time. And he said kindly, the trouble is, the other side can do magic too, Prime Minister. And with that, the 2 wizards stepped one after the other into the bright green fire and vanished. Great ending to a
Good versus
chapter.
evil. Boom.
I know. Good versus evil. Any other notes in this chapter before I ask you guys some general questions?
I don't like that Fudge is on in an advisory capacity. Again, that's merciful.
Yeah.
That he gets to stick around. It's a very polite way to let him step down, you know. One giant did a lot of crazy things. We're starting to see the power of the giant.
It could be giants.
It could be, but the fact that it was like at some point it literally said, but we can't find the giant. So maybe there were multiple, but only one escaped or something. But just the idea that the giants are out there causing some havoc. And the only other thing, I'm starting to get ideas about green light. This chapter mentioned it like 4 times. I'm waiting to see the green light that maybe is the color of Harry's eyes that came from his early memory, because all he remembers about when he was 1 year old and the day his parents died is green light. And now we're seeing that being flu powder. So I was thinking green light was the color of the curses. I was thinking that he was seeing the light of his parents getting killed when Voldemort is doing the, not Cruciatus, not Imperio, Avada Kedavra. And that's what I was interpreting the green light as. But after this chapter said it like 4 different times, flu powder, bright green flames, flash of green light, I was like, well, maybe it didn't say light. But now I'm thinking wherever Harry was when he was 1, flu powder was involved. And I don't know why or how, because Harry was being taken away by Hagrid in a motorcycle. And I just assumed he was being taken away from the place where his parents were. So who was using flu powder and where were they going and why? That's what I'm wondering.
Interesting. So, wow. Do you have any theories on if someone was in that position, who would be taking flu powder?
For one, Wormtail could have been with him.
Yeah.
Could have grabbed Voldemort's wand and stuff, flu powdered out of there as soon as everything went south. It also could be other people flu powdering in to try and protect or chase Voldemort down or something. It felt like in that moment, what we understand so far, Dumbledore was kind of far away, which feels weird. Sirius was kind of far away too. Our understanding is that Sirius and Hagrid got there around the same time. Hagrid was going to take Harry away. Sirius was, we thought at first, trying to kill Harry. We find out later he was probably trying to also help Harry. So, Jen, to catch you up on my theory,
Okay.
is the green light that we're getting in this chapter a bunch of times from the bright green flame of using flu powder to get in and out, is the same green light Harry saw when his parents died. It's his only memory of that day. And I thought it had something to do with his green eyes, and I thought it was maybe Voldemort using the curses. But what if the green light Harry remembers from that day was flu powder? And it was someone taking...
He's changing it.
Well, even as I say it, the reason you would see green light, it may be not from somebody arriving where Harry was, maybe Harry taking flu powder. Like Harry going through the flu network. Although
The
that
only
seems
thing
weird
is there
because he's
was
a
a
little young
green
to be
light
flying
during
through.
the battle.
Well, was that from a curse? Is that confirmed that
I thought so.
Avada Kedavra and maybe the other curses too provide green light?
That's what I thought. But your theory is interesting.
Well, I'm just curious if the place they found Harry was not where it all went down. Like, eventually Hagrid and Sirius met there, and Hagrid took him away on Sirius's bike. But what if that wasn't where Harry's parents were actually killed? Like, they moved the bodies or did something, like, funky. Somebody else was involved in that day that we don't fully understand yet. And that's why we don't have the full picture.
Do you think... let's talk about, like, a pensive. Do you think that Dumbledore would have a memory of that stored somewhere? And then if he did, would he show Harry the memory of his parents' death?
Cover of the book's also green. It looks like they're standing over a pensieve. I would say maybe, but you can take your memories out and you can store them in a pensieve. Who would have that memory? It would be Dumbledore, maybe? Like, if Dumbledore was actually involved in that day. Hagrid, if I assumed Hagrid can't keep a secret, well, that's perfect. He can't keep a secret, so you pull the memory right out. Wow.
Or what about the mirror to Sirius? That was so... I'm still mad about that.
Interesting. So
It makes me so angry.
could Sirius have put memories in a mirror?
I don't know.
Yeah, like, whoever was involved in that day, we don't know, could Dumbledore have pulled some of Harry's deep memories out from that day? Because, you know, you don't remember what happens when you're a kid, but you remember what happened yesterday when you're a kid. So when he was 1, could Dumbledore have pulled some of his own memories out to protect him and then save those memories for later so he can now watch that day through his own eyes?
And that's what he's watching
that's
here,
rough.
you think?
That's intense, though. Why would you show that to a kid? His parents dying and
Yeah,
stuff?
that would be rough.
I mean, his eyes are wide open.
Nah, he's got a slight smile.
No, he
I'm
doesn't.
against this, but
Turn it that way. It's not smiling.
all right, fine. I'll embrace it. I won't look at the back, though. He's pensive.
You're so funny.
It's, I don't know. I can't tell. But even if it was his own memories or somebody else who was there, maybe they eventually capture Wormtail, and Wormtail was there using Floo powder to escape after the fact, so they can grab Wormtail's memories. Maybe Dumbledore already tracked down somebody. Well, that seems weird. Who would he have tracked down? We're led to believe not very many people were involved in that day, but it could be Sirius. That would make a lot of sense. We know he was there, at least by the time Hagrid got there. Maybe maybe he was a little bit involved. And then Dumbledore could download some of those memories before Sirius left for good.
That is an interesting theory, yeah.
That is cool.
That's about the only thing I could come up with. Bit of a rabbit trail, but
I like it just based on the color green. I like
based
that.
on the color green.
We came up with the entire prediction of the book based on green.
And it also could mean nothing and just a straight read, like we've said. But like you asked, how did Voldemort's wand get back to him? And then she's answered that question since then to say that Wormtail got it. But that just brings up the question, how and when did Wormtail get to his wand? And was that right away? Did they ever find a pile of Voldemort's cloak and whatever else? Did he disappear? Was there a body? I think there was no trace of him, right? We're led to believe that. Like they didn't find his remnants. There was just zero trace. So that also could be because they all took Floo powder from wherever Voldemort was and it was somewhere else. Or Wormtail grabbed his stuff and Floo powdered them away.
I have so many questions on that.
So many. I'm just like, we could go anywhere with it.
I know.
But the pensieve is fantastic because it means we actually can see some of this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Potentially.
Okay, a few general questions too, because I wanna ask different questions about that, but we're running out of time a little bit. Who do you think the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher will be? I think we asked this the very, very last one we did, but who do you think the new one's going to be?
Please not Fudge. Please not Fudge.
Gosh.
Oh, sorry, Wes.
Could it be Lupin again? No, that's too risky.
No repeats. She's got to keep this theme. Actually, maybe not. Maybe she's breaking her whole theme. She kind of did already.
Yeah.
Tonks, but she's too young, we said.
Should be good. Students wouldn't, boy students wouldn't be able to focus. I'd be in class.
If you were in class.
So far, every new teacher has been somebody we met in the book, but not a previous book. It's been like somebody introduced.
I've never been good at these predictions, so that's all
But
you.
she's changing things up. Again, we're not from Harry's perspective. We're starting in the Muggle world.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's the type of writer who's going to keep the themes going. And at what point do you break them? I'm not sure. It's possible it's someone we didn't meet yet. Someone we're going to meet in chapter
what
2
about
or
in,
3.
Like the Ministry of Magic, the court case, whatever.
Somebody else from the court case.
Maybe.
Amelia Bones could have been a good option.
Oh,
but
she would have been great
rest in peace, Amelia.
if she's really dead.
I know.
She's pretty powerful.
She put up a fight. That's
Oh, yeah.
right.
She put up a good fight.
And one thing that's I think really interesting. I'm curious about what you guys think Harry is going to be like, because the perspective shift in this book is really, I think it's really well done, because at the end of the book, Sirius is dead. Harry's tearing up an office. He like can move on. You feel like he's grown and matured at the end of that book. Excuse me. But it's interesting that in the beginning of this one, she doesn't go directly to Harry's perspective. Oh, sorry. Those cookies are really getting to me. Harry's perspective and Harry's. Wow, that's a loud one.
Oh, my word.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting all sorts of distractions.
What? Jen's over here just making noises.
I was like, what is
You thought that the fire station was Jen making a noise?
Yeah, that's interesting. A human can do that.
Yeah, definitely.
louder and louder? I was like,
There's a noise coming
brain
out of
was
you.
just like not working properly. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, so the perspective shift I think is interesting because you're not directly back in Harry's head. It's not like Harry is important, but it's like you're taking a breather from that and getting like a whole, like knowing it's not just affecting Harry, it's affecting the entire wizarding world and the Muggle world. It's like larger than Harry at this moment.
Yep.
So I love that perspective shift, and you're not back into it. Where do you think Harry's going to go from here? Is he going to be incredibly depressed this whole book? What's his perspective going to be?
This is Kristen's expertise. People stuff.
This is true. Emotions. Psychology.
I'm not there yet.
I feel like maybe in the beginning he'll be like depressed, but then I think he has to snap out of it for the good of everyone. To help everyone. Whatever Dumbledore needs him to do.
I'm
Teach
trying
me.
to think how he was at the end of the book.
It
It almost felt like he was a little bit on the upswing. Like
Yeah.
he took some time to process so that by this
that's
book,
right.
he might kind of be
That's what I was thinking.
out of it.
Because even when he
we
left,
can hold hands on the pod now. We can hold toes.
I was gonna say, those are feet.
I
That's why
know,
they're not
that's
wearing socks right now.
disgusting.
So we can hold toes.
I can't do that. My feet move like a mitten. I can hold all my toes.
I think he's going to be out of it, but taking things more seriously. Harry has been a bit of a slacker. Dumbledore gives him specific things to do, and he just doesn't do them.
Yeah.
And then ultimately leads to people
Learning
dying,
the,
unfortunately.
What
Because
was
he
that thing that he had to learn from Snape?
legilimency or occlumency. He was supposed to be practicing and doing homework for Snape.
And
kind
Hermione was
just
right.
didn't.
Duh.
Yep. And so I feel like we're going to see a more responsible Harry. He's older now. He's been through even more. Hopefully he won't be depressed and he'll be ready for action. I don't want to see passionate revenge trying to like avenge Sirius's death. I want to see him thinking rationally and talking to his friends and working through things as a
Hermione.
team. Yeah. So I'm curious. But I think we're going to see a man now.
Yeah, he's
I'm
gone
hoping.
from a boy to a man. Yeah.
From 5 to 6.
Do you think that's too optimistic?
Yeah.
Yeah. maybe because maybe he'll have to be a man in the end or in the 7th book or the end of the 7th book, and this is all part of his journey.
Clueless. I agree.
I know. And that's why I could easily see this being like another Harry struggle book, just like 5, where he was kind of torn up about Cedric and like unsure and not confident and everything. We could see another whole book of that before he starts coming around. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the end of this one.
So, two-part question on this too. And what do you think is going to happen in the end of this book? We'll just start with that one. Like, what are your predictions for the end of this book? Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen in this book at all.
No.
But
That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah. Make a wild prediction. A 30-second prediction.
You got anything, Jen?
It's impossible for Danny.
Yeah, I know. He's
Yeah,
like,
it's gonna
let me
be
take
3 minutes.
3
5
minutes.
I'm like, let me think first, and then I'll still struggle.
I mean, I feel like it's just like a battle book in a way with lots of answers of like history and like leading up to how we defeat Voldemort and keeping people safe. So the end of the book, maybe they're almost there, or maybe maybe they're learning the sacrifices that they have to make. I'm trying to think because there's a 7th book. So like, what's the 7th book about? I feel like, well, but then she surprises us, and I'm like, how is this introduced right now?
I know.
Maybe 7 is just like the aftermath of everything. Maybe this is all
don't
the
think so.
battles.
I feel like this has to be bad. This book has to be defeat. I feel like we're going to be in despair by the end of this book. This
But
has to be
everyone's
the
favorite book.
but because a lot of awesome things are going to happen, it's going to be action packed. But I feel like this has to be the book that brings us down for the 7th book to be victorious. We can only hope. I'm just thinking of a lot of like trilogies and the middle, The Empire Strikes Back, Temple of Doom, the darker, like calm before the storm. I feel like this would have to be that, where the order is going to be in shambles by the end of this, and we're not going to know how they're going to get out of
Does
it.
Dumbledore die?
I don't think he could. He could. Oh,
I don't know.
Will Harry feel truly alone by the end of this book? Like the Weasleys or anyone else could
No,
die?
I don't
the
think
whole
he's
family?
truly going to feel alone because he keeps gaining more friends that he starts to trust.
Yeah.
Like now he has Luna, right? And Ginny. And he's got Lupin back. He's got Tonks. Like he's gaining
Yes.
more relationships that he's learning to trust.
Yeah, you're right. They're
So
still
I don't
building their
think
army.
He's going to feel alone if a lot of people.
Like with Dumbledore around,
die.
he's going to feel safe.
I would.
Agreed. And so by the end of this book, maybe he won't feel safe. Like maybe this whole book is building up and we're going to feel good this whole book. And then by the end of the book, boom, defeat.
I
Order
feel like it's
disbanded.
going to be a
the
lot of
ministry is no more.
research, though, of like Half-Blood Prince. Like I feel like it might be a lot of history in here. Because John said I'm going to like this book. So I
Lots
like
of
answers.
Well, also I'm thinking whatever the plan is in this book won't work because there's a 7th book. So whatever they come up with in this book to do, they will either get close to doing it or actually do it. But Voldemort has another backup plan.
Right.
So book 7 is like they have to come up with a whole new plan. So whatever they're
Or
trying
what
to
if
do
this is just research and the next book
to
is
plan for, yeah, could be. But the end of this book, I do not
pretty
have high
long.
hopes for it.
because you
and I'm-
looked at the back.
No, I wouldn't do that. But then again, maybe this is a more victorious book. And then the next book, which is also a pretty thick book, it's the whole arc of barely surviving, taking a lot of hits early in the book, and then swinging up to victory at the end. Maybe.
That's what I'm.
Because that'd be nice. Because then this book would be really fun, where this whole book is like battles and battles, good versus evil, and by the end of this book, they can actually fight back and do some major blows, and Voldemort actually can almost get defeated. And then we might even feel like we're closer to victory, and then thinking 7 is going to be a nice, easy crush Voldemort once and for all. But that's when we get hit with the curveball, and the whole seventh book is a struggle to get back to the point of defeating him again.
Yeah. That was a great 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm so good at
5
short
minutes later.
synopsises.
That was great, though. We'll see.
Oh man, but a lot of people say this is a great book and we're gonna love it.
Because we're going to get answers. That's why I'm
Yeah.
like, excited for? I better get answers.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
now you're saying
No, that would
maybe.
make so
Might have
much
more
sense.
questions.
We get all of the puzzle pieces by the end of this book,
And then 7.
and then 7
It's
is how we put them
boom.
all together to get victory.
We'll see, guys. We have a long journey ahead of us.
I'm sure it'll
So
change as we
exciting.
keep
So many
reading
ups and
into
downs.
So
it.
exciting.
And also, I think it's oversimplifying to think in
Mm.
those terms. But I don't know. I feel like every page throws a wrench in plans, and then I'm like, whoa, we're going here. We're doing this.
Okay, give me your finals for. It's only one chapter, but your favorite moment, favorite character. You know, there's 3 characters, and who's the hot tamale? I guess. This probably might be all the same.
Picture frame.
The Toad Man.
Umbridge's
Toad Man.
great grandfather is the hot tamale.
He is spicy.
I kind of think Scrimgeour is the hot tamale right here.
Yeah.
He's kind of a babe, a little lion-looking guy.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Into lions.
Who would play him?
Well, yeah.
Currently, I can't tell.
Yeah, I think
know,
the
I
person
was
who plays
excited
him
to see.
is perfect.
Wow.
I don't think he acts perfectly in that situation, but the look of him is perfect. I'll just. You want me to tell it?
Yeah.
Bill Nye or Bill Nye.
That
The
means
science guy?
nothing to me.
Bill Niley. Bill Nye.
Niley.
He's the
Okay,
guy in About
Google.
Time, the father in About Time.
Oh, yeah.
I think his
that's
name
You
is
too. I'm
also-
like, the science guy? What?
Bill Niley. Also, I just found out like last week that Moody is the About Time guy's dad.
Yep,
I
yeah.
was like, what the? And wait, doesn't
Wait.
Wait,
Moody
who?
is the About Time.
But you
I
just said
think
that
so.
that guy.
Bill
was-
No,
Nye-
this guy is.
No, sorry. This guy plays his father in About Time. Moody is the About Time kid's real
Oh
life
yeah.
father.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
seriously?
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he accepted some award for him
You
or
guys
something, and I
are
was like,
obsessed about this
Yeah.
movie.
yeah, sorry,
It's
we
so
are
fun.
plugging it all the
I know.
time.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite character is hard in this, but do you have a favorite
Yeah.
character?
I like Scrimgeour.
Yeah, Scrimgeour,
think
hot
that's
tamale,
the
and
only
favorite
one.
character, I guess.
But I feel like we also could give credit to other people. Like I'm gonna give my hot tamale to Amelia Bones.
Yeah, Amelia
Hot,
forever.
hot tamale
I,
even
like,
feels
missed
like
that
maybe a
whole
little bit
thing in
too
the chapter.
small. Maybe she'll even get my house cup. If she doesn't get another chance
go.
for a house cup,
Wow.
maybe Scrimgeour gets hot
Alright.
tamale. She'll get house cup.
I like
You
that.
should marry
Just because-
Amelia Bones.
She. You're jealous of Amelia
Danny
Bones.
can't pick a woman for any
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hot
Fine.
tamale or
Yep.
you guys.
We start
marry
bickering.
Amelia Bones.
Like, well, why don't you go marry Voldemort? Why don't I get a sneak?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Jen thinks
I'm
Voldemort's
sexy.
pretty sexy,
Yeah.
so
Oh, no.
Just gonna have to script.
Yeah, like get the whole nose thing or what? That's how I'll do it for the wedding. We'll incorporate do one of those nose squishies, a little
my
tape.
oh my goodness.
Goodness gracious.
Anyways,
Please don't.
Oh my
it's a
god.
great engagement photo shoot waiting to happen.
Side photos. What was the line that you read? That was my favorite part when Fudge is saying
We can do magic too. The other side can do magic too.
no before that when he was saying I'm on the out or
You can't expect that I'm still a minister of magic.
shoot. Remember when I said that was a great line? I love that line while you were reading it. Do I remember it? No.
Oh.
The Dementors having missed.
No, that was definitely not it. That was weird. That's the hot tamale.
Yeah, the Dementors are the hot.
I remember you
tamales.
saying that and I can't place it.
I know.
Dementors are that's always.
That he's on the outs, maybe? That was the line?
Oh
Or
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
heck
The
was
wizarding
it?
community has been screaming for my resignation
Oh, yeah,
for a
yeah.
fortnight. I've never known them so united in my whole term of office.
Maybe that was it. Sure. I thought it was a different one, but
Yeah.
it's fine. The one before that? It's okay.
I do remember you saying that.
I know. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, that was such a good line because it like stuck out. But
Fudge goes, he must not be named as back. I don't know. Is a man alive if he can't be killed? I don't really understand it, and Dumbledore won't explain it properly. But anyway, he certainly got a body and is walking and talking and killing.
Maybe
So I
that's
suppose
it,
for
yeah.
the purposes of our discussion, yes, he's alive.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
that's a good line.
Favorite moment there.
I think my favorite moment of this is the very end of the chapter when they're leaving
That is pretty good.
and they're like, the other side can do magic too, and they just both walk out into the fire, like leaving the guy like,
Mic drop moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great moment.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I liked when Kingsley was there and he was like realizing that Kingsley is a wizard. I thought that was
That is a
like,
good one.
great.
Oh, I forgot about that. I love him. Don't take him away.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, we
We
placed
want
him
him
there.
the wizarding
You
room.
can't place someone
Like
in
when
my
he said-
office.
Yeah, when and then he's all
I was
offended.
like, oh my goodness.
He's like,
That
you can't
was-
do things without my permission.
Pretty funny, yeah.
Like you have
I thought
no
you liked
idea.
him. Yeah. What about you, Kristen? What's your favorites?
I don't know. Just because I laughed at it when Fudge was saying that he got sacked.
Yeah.
Just made me laugh.
Yes, finally.
What else are we doing? Favorite cat? I don't know. It's like a limited.
I feel like Danny's was good. The hot tamale, Amelia, favorite, or no, house cup Amelia, hot tamale, the Dementors.
Yeah, Dementor hot tamale.
They're hot for sure.
They are hot and bothered.
I'll
right
say, yeah. Scrimgeour, I think, has got to get hot tamale.
now. Love that.
He was spicy, but I still don't know how to feel about him. I like him so far. I think we'll like him.
We shall see. Guys, the books only get better from this point on. This is where it gets really good. Okay, so all the time that I say that, I don't know if I can say this anymore because this is really, truly, I believe, where the books just get
So much better.
good.
Her world building, she
I
just
know.
keeps expanding.
I know.
Much better.
And people ragging her all the time for that, but really, it's good here. So, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
We're back, baby.
Woo! Yeah. We made it. Next chapter, guys. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. How many are we going to read? We're going to do like one at a time.
No, one at a time would be
That would be too slow.
lovely, but
It's like that would be my dream.
yes, that would be wonderful. But we'll probably do maybe 2 or 3 for the next one. Maybe
Okay.
2. We'll see. We'll play it by ear.